Good afternoon and welcome to day 3 of Riyadh International Industry Week Summit. And I'd like to welcome you to our first session of the day, which is Artificial Intelligence and Industrial Automation. And I'd like to invite our speakers up on stage, Engineer Ahmed Al-Bakawi, Engineer Faisal Bindos, Mr. Joshua Steiner, and Mr. Nick Retzman. Anybody in the audience, feel free, if you could, gentlemen, could take the seat to so your sign is on your right side, please. Thank you. If you're in the audience, we will be delivering all the sessions in English today, but you can use our translation app. It has access to 57 languages. It'll come through on your telephone. You can even download the transcription for later if you want the notes of the session. And we also have earphone devices at the back of the hall if you'd like to have an earphone connection to the sessions. But I'm going to start because I know we'll probably run over time. So I'll take a seat with these gentlemen. So we've had Engineer Ahmed here a few times, actually, so it's a welcome back to him. But before we start, please give them all a big hand because they've taken time out of their busy schedules to be with us today. Thank you. If we could just go down the row and give us 1 minute on who you are, where you're from, and I don't know, anything about your favorite color or what you like eating. No, that's a joke, but if you could start, please, Engineer Ahmed.
Sure. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Al-Bakawi. I'm proud to be here again. Thank you so much, Morgan. I'm the VP of Studies at Saudi Industrial Development Fund. And what we do at Studies is that we complete feasibility study due diligence, I would say, from a project implementation perspective, as well as market dynamics and sizing the opportunities that are presented to us. At SIDF, we are the financial enabler of the National Industrial Development and Logistic Program, as well as the National Industrial Strategy. So we cover a lot of sectors when it comes to manufacturing, logistics, renewable energy, conventional energy, and mining. We just celebrated 50 years. And we're very excited to have an outlook on the next 50 years that was going to be fueled with fascinating innovations in manufacturing, such as AI and robotics.
Thank you. Engineer Faisal?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be one of yours today. My name is Faisal Bindos. Last time I checked my age, I was 40. I'm a Saudi engineer with a big experience internationally, where I spent most of my time in Europe, especially in France, where I get my 2 engineer's degrees, and in the United States, where I get specialized in advanced telecommunication. I went through lots of changes and evolutions in my career. I started by, the maritime architecture and shipyard sector, going through all the advanced telecommunication systems, infrastructures, to all what we could call advanced manufacturing technology. When I finally joined Meta2i, I started as project manager in France, and then I became the owner, one of the shareholders, and get the leadership of this company. Since my childhood, I was, interested about technology, advanced technology, and get amazed about all the advanced that Europe and the United States and can get in these technologies. So I had this, this dream that one day I could do something similar, and bring these technologies to Saudi Arabia. So with my shareholders in France, we launched with the Vision 2030 in 2014,
Excellent.
The next, strategy of Meta2i. Meta2i is a company that had 37 years old, in continuous evolutions, and we chose, to fulfill the mandate of the Vision 2030 and make our dream one of the dream of the leaders of Vision 2030. This is why we created and I founded AUTech in Riyadh in 2021.
Thank you. And Mr. Steiner, if you could give us a brief intro, please.
Sure, absolutely. It's really nice to be here today. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm also an engineer. I'm a manufacturing engineer, and originally from the United States. I've been working in Saudi now for 4 years. Most recently, the executive director of development at Oxagon, the industrial city of Neom. I was responsible for developing the industrial land and also all the programs to attract manufacturers. Before that, I was a partner at Ernst & Young, and before that, Deloitte, focused on mergers and acquisitions and investments. So I've been working my entire career on how to make the feasible investments and the balance between capital and productivity and labor and financials. So I'm really excited to talk about what AI and automation can really do for manufacturing.
Thank you. And Mr. Retzman.
Yes, so first of all, thank you very much for having me today. Yeah, it's my first time in Saudi Arabia. I'm here only for 3 days. And one thing I can already say is that this company and this industry here is on the forefront of technology to become the powerhouse in the Middle East. My name is Nick Retzman. I'm the co-founder of Vibe, a gamification venture increasing employee engagement. And in my role, I'm responsible for growth and product. Vibe is embedded in Kerber Digital, which is a German manufacturing company building software and manufacturing industries products for various industries. I can only say that being here will help us to establish Vibe as a brand, and I'm very thankful for this.
Okay, well, let's stick with you for now. We're going to say your innovative solutions for advanced industries and the workforce. Tell us a little bit, give us a bit more detail on them. Sure. And why, what's the relationship between automation, AI, and Vibe?
Yes, happy to do so. So, if I read in the Vision 2030, investing in human capital is key. And that's exactly what is Vibe about. Upskilling and reskilling people in the technology world by using gamification elements. That is what Vibe is all about. We've invested and founded Vibe together with our supply chain, Kerber supply chain industry sector, which is on the forefront of WMS systems worldwide. So now imagine we live in the fully automated world, but still, in fact, people doing the job. And the symbiosis between people and technology, that is what Vibe is all about. Using big data sets, analyzing the people doing the job out there, and then increasing the skills and increasing the performance alongside supply chains, logistics, and manufacturing industries.
So, Mr. Steiner, in terms of this people business, obviously we need people for everything. At Oxagon, you guys are talking about advanced manufacturing, you're talking about clean technologies, and so the training is an important part of that, but what else is part of that equation for the clean, advanced manufacturing industry?
No, that's a great question. Advanced and clean manufacturing means many things to different people, and ultimately it changes depending on what subsector you're in. And part of it is about being the best in class in your subsector. It is about using Industry 4.0 and advanced technologies to control your manufacturing process. It's also about, as my colleague said, about providing a good, safe, clean place for people to work, right? Creating good, solid, middle-class jobs, if you will, and using support technologies to make those jobs safe. It also means quality, and it means that you have control over your process and you're able to get the quality out, and you need to be at world-class quality to be considered advanced manufacturing. And then ultimately, it's about circularity and sustainability. So minimizing the waste and processing as much of that waste as you possibly can, reducing the burden on the municipal systems, of course, and making sure that you're working with your supply chain partners to make manufacturing the cleanest, the most efficient, the best quality that you can make. And I think there's a lot of programs necessary beyond just the manufacturer to be able to do that. The industrial cities and the general supply chain around needs to be able to support that.
So in terms of that, engineer Faisal, your company is contributing to that kind of vision really with your smart factory, smart manufacturing ideas, and the way you enable companies to do that. So what is your corporate commitment to that? Realizing that smart dream.
Well, actually, we started this commitment with many axes. The first one is the technological factor. We partnered with Meta 2i coming from Intelligence Industrial, a company that has 37 years old in the industry. The first customer of Meta 2i, it's a 30 years old customer that remain and evolving the same system, helping all these, manufacturing to resolve their problems and obstacles during their production. So the founders of the company, they didn't wake up one day by saying, let's build a software or our application or so. They've been working in production environment, and they've been facing all these obstacles and difficulties, and they've been trying, looking for data, the source of data. Back in 1989, they believed that the data is the next oil, and they need to, capture this data all over the production floor, and to consolidate this data to deliver and make as my colleague said, to make the day and the shift of the operators more easier, and to help the decision maker to take the decision. So the first one was the technological. Our aim with IoTech, and with this big support from our network and partner, is to localize the first technological manufacturing execution system, which is called KM-Prod, coming from Knowledge Management Production. And this will be the first, Saudi platform, at this level to contribute and, digitalizing the factories and to make the industrial intelligence, accessible to everybody. The second one, we've been, and I have my colleague from SIDF, Tanafusi, next to me. I want to thank, the Ministry of Industry with the Future Factories program. We are part of this program right now. We are certified series. We are part of the program of Tanafusiya. We receive lots of help. There's a lots of exchange between the stakeholder, the regulation side, and us in terms of sensibilization. Also, a big thank to C4IR, the Center of Industrial Revolution 4, and to Dr. Basma Bhiran, where we put in place, a series of seminars and webinars, for the awareness and sensibilizations of the people in the sector. And we are very happy because also with King Saud University, we launched the first industrial intelligence program. We finished, just the second session of this, and we have lots of, engineering department students getting interested in this program. We are willing, to, among the pilot projects, the POCs that we established already in KAXT, in some of the aluminium, plastic, steel factories, to push them forward to bring the best service to the sector.
Great. And so how do you help all these guys? Do you just hand out money, or is it more to it than that?
Well,
I mean, you're an enabler, really, aren't you?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
is it a big checkbook, or is it like lots of consultancy, support? Tell everybody how you...
I wish money was the solution for everything, but it's actually more fun than that. And thank you so much for mentioning it, Engineer Faisal. I would like to say at SIDF, we're really an enabler when it comes to trying to put technology in everything we do in manufacturing, especially helping our clients. So being the enabler of the NIDLIP program, the National Industrial Strategy, we had to do three things to make this happen in terms of industrial automation, going into Industry 4.0, and now the age of artificial intelligence. We focused on three areas, if I can just make it brief. The first is our products. Just like what Engineer Faisal mentioned, we had to expand beyond the typical kind of industrial loan appraisal. We added the Tanafusiya program, and Tanafusiya program has a lot of offerings that help us look at, thank you, the current manufacturing landscape and see how can we help the clients that really want to reconstruct, for example, how are they efficient in energy, and how can they transition to renewables or transition to efficient sources. where we conduct advisory or let's say consultancy as energy audits and give them proper solutions and how much it's going to cost them. Because if it does not impact their bottom line immediately, it's really not that feasible or meaningful to the investor. We also have digital transformation. And that's really a fun program where we really work with them and make sure that we design tools, solutions, and a plan to go from a current state to a futuristic state, enabling Industry 4.0 and optimizing, automating, digitizing their products, or let's say their operations. The second, briefly, I can say the process. We improved our process by adding so many things to our clients, like hosting the Advanced Manufacturing Hub. And this is a collaborative platform where we enable the industrial players in Saudi Arabia to interact and exchange ideas with international leaders and technology enablers. And some of them are like the companies that Engineer Faisal works with, or the members in NEOM and in global centers as well, where they can give guidance on how to adopt the technology, how to really avoid costly mistakes, and even advise on how to resolve a problem that's already been resolved in a different part of the world in the same sector. The third, I would say, are people. We really are into developing our people, not just the industry. We were able to make sure that our engineers at SIDF and other members who are experts are Series certified, which is the Smart Industrial Readiness Certificate, to make sure that they are able to do an assessment of factories and what do they need to do to advance into automation and digitization. Another thing is the SIDF Academy that has a lot of offerings when it comes to digitization, automation, and also lean manufacturing. Another thing is also with our people is ask an expert. It has been fruitful experience, and we're always there to answer questions, not just for our clients, anybody who wants guidance on what they should be doing or what they should not be doing.
So ask the experts, where's that pool of knowledge? Is that your international collaborative platform, or is this a separate?
The international collaborative platform is available for anybody who wants to access it. I'll be more than happy to share guidance on how to access that. The Ask an Expert, it is in collaboration with Munshaat, and it is, I believe, on the Munshaat app, you can book an appointment with the expert in the sector that you're interested in. Even if you just want the idea of opening a factory or upgrading your factory, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Excellent. And guide you through it.
Okay, good. I'm going to go back to you, Engineer Faisal, and ask you about artificial intelligence and how that's changed the kind of manufacturing area. Since this is about, I think we're talking about artificial intelligence, aren't we? Yeah. So,
thank you, James, for
I need a reminder. Sorry.
Thank you, James, for this question. It's very important to highlight this particular point. Actually, when you are talking about losses, scraps, breakdowns, loss of resources, all these are some of the pain that the production and the factories can have. And as other sectors, the technology is helping, to evolve, helping to resolve all these pains. And you cannot separate intelligence artificial from industrial intelligence. And industrial intelligence, in my opinion, is the spine, of the spine of the data, because all these industrial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, algorithm, they would need, a consolidated data, to take advantage and to deliver the right information to the right person at the right moment. But this is a work that the industrial intelligence will work, to seek for the source of data all over the workshop, to put it in a form where we can cascade in a very dynamic way the quality, the production, the time, and to prevent all these breakdowns and pains. We do analysis in the factories since decades, and these analysis helps us to understand, to identify the failure or to identify the fault and to correct it afterward. What would the intelligence artificial do later on is that will predict, in your movement, what to avoid, what to do or what not to do to maintain your objectivity in a certain level that you want. And the big start is the industrial intelligence. And we can say so because in almost 4 decades in Meta 2i, we've been in France and also in IoTech, we've been facing both of these applications. I can give 2 examples. The first one, we've been approached by big companies, software companies specialized in deep learning and machine learning, and just to put their work and their platforms in execution in the factory. They've been seeking to get our data in our database to make this algorithm work with it. So
Okay.
we give at their disposal a tremendous number of data that they can get advantage from it immediately.
I'm going to go to Mr. Steiner now. And just you mentioned predictive intelligence. And I'd like you to expand on that for the audience and how this can be adapted to make that manufacturing, that kind of full circle work properly.
Yeah, I think manufacturers have been installing advanced technology now for 30 years, right? And so we've collected dramatic amount of data, but not been able to use all of the data that you've collected. And I think what's really exciting about AI and advanced computing systems now is that we're able to see people starting to use that data holistically, connecting different parts of the factory together and being able to anticipate challenges and problems, but also really be able to help the people make better decisions. Right? And I think I was at Porsche last 2 weeks ago in Stuttgart, where they're making the Taycan and the 911, an absolutely beautiful factory. I love visiting factories. And it's probably one of the most sophisticated final assembly plants in the universe. And one of the things that AI has allowed them to do is have actually a very advanced factory that's also very flexible. Because now the systems can adapt to changes very quickly. They teach themselves, if you will. The robots can reprogram themselves. The goods carriers can move very easily rather than everything being rigid. But then it also allowed the operators to anticipate challenges and problems, right, that happen, say, further up in the manufacturing process. And the systems then allowed them to address those problems before they got to the final quality stages. So I think ultimately it allows people to be better manufacturers. Right? And I think one of the interesting elements, people predict that AI, eliminates many jobs, but I think it also makes the skill level necessary, as my colleague I'm sure will expound upon, the skills of the manufacturer's employees needs to also go up in order to handle, the proper sort of working with AI to make sense of all the data that's been generated over the last decades.
So going on about the people, this is your bit, Mr. Richmond. So in terms of your gamification, how do you get people to predict? How do they coalesce with the AI that's predicting stuff as well?
Yeah, right, exactly. To touch exactly this point, probably to say one thing before that, in my previous role, I was responsible for the digital innovation process for the entire Körber Group, with the focus on AI-powered manufacturing, new business innovation models. So what we have done was we analyzed the entire value chain to identify new business models. And I guess what we see now, and so that was also already mentioned, is that we now in the age where we can finally do something with the data we collected so far. When we look at enabling technologies like IoT, for example, everything has sensors. Everything is now measurable. But there's 2 more important technologies we have seen before I touch base back to the people in the end doing the job. We see more and more the rollout of 5G and quantum computers. 5G will help us to really transform data in real time. Efficient manufacturing processes only work if we can work with real-time data. At the same time, we have quantum computers, which now enable us, coming back to the AI topic, not only talking about machine learning, but quite and far more complex deep learning models, which also help us to now enter the new age of AI. Coming back to the questions how we transform all this knowledge also to the people. We have further interesting business models developed in Kerber, for example, Factory Pole, where we analyze manufacturing data along the production line and then give the operator certain ideas what to improve along the production line. The interesting part, why often not the real measures we predicted coming out, is because the operator is not using the optimization potential they already have. So in the world, what I would call the cobot world, where we have technology combining in a symbiosis with people, it is important to use the technology and the big data and AI models we have, combining it and teaching the operators, the people at the end, doing the job to work as I said, in a cobot world.
Excellent. So, I'm just wondering, have you guys heard that Saudi Arabia's got one of the fastest 5G networks in the world? So, I mean, that makes a huge difference to the smart factories and the whole AI thing. But I'm going to Engineer Bakwi again, and the National Industrial Strategy and your contribution. When you look at studies, what are you predicting for the future in AI, automation, and the smart factory program? What are you guys projecting for the future, say the next 5 years or past 2030?
That's a lovely question, James. And I want to pick up the answer where Nick stopped, because that's the...
Sorry, I'm shoving the mic in front of you because
that's the logical explanation.
There we go.
That's the logical continuation. Really, what Mr. Nick mentioned on 5G, on quantum computing, that is the trend spotting of where industry is going to go. And the characteristics of factories of the future, I believe, are first going to have high connectivity and data viability. It's going to make things very accessible to the big players and small players. It's going to make everything interconnected with each other, where now you can connect with your supply chain moving up or moving down. You can make sure that you also have a fantastic kind of data-driven operations, where you have sensors, where you have monitoring on every part of your factory. And that's very important, especially if you're a small player, because when you talk to your investors, when you talk to banks, when you talk to lenders, now you have a different perspective to let them know that you got a meaningful operation going on. Currently, you can find a lot of challenges when you're talking to investors or banks, when you're trying to get a bridge loan or trying to get some sort of financing. But in the future, it's going to be really easy, because you have validated, proven data that you are having fantastic effort, and people love to fund investors that show a lot of effort. What I'm really excited about the future is the fact that you will have reconfigurable and flexible production lines. With the introduction of 3D manufacturing, additive manufacturing, and a lot of new kind of gimmicks that are coming either from academia or kids in school, we're going to see a lot of that come in mainstream, where that will give you new configurations of production lines that can fit any type of factory, any type of size, and which will create a long tail of supply chain. So that will really enrich the whole, I would say, environment or ecosystem of factories in the future. We're going to see a lot of new players inside the factories, like collaborative robots. I'm sure everybody is aware of the new generative AI and the efforts that are happening with the Boston Dynamics and Tesla's Robo project. That will all be commoditized, and it will be accessible because there's going to be a lot of influx of capital to make these robots happen. And this will create really your personal assistant as an engineer or a professional, where you are no longer bound by a lot of mundane, repetitive tasks, but you can focus on engineering, improving your products, you can focus on solving problems, R&D, and these robotics will be focused on doing the mundane task. Lastly, I believe everybody will be able to focus on sustainability because it's going to be logical, it's going to be easy to implement, and I see that the levels of industrial establishments in Saudi Arabia will rapidly increase in the future.
Excellent. Engineer Faisal, I'm going to come to you now. And what kind of challenges are you facing to meet this vision that we've just heard from? Everybody's going to say money, but I mean, what else? You know, what is it? Expertise? Is it knowledge? You know, what are the main challenges for you as a smart manufacturer?
Well, actually, I will go back to 2017. I was exposing it with my little booth in Smart Industries in Paris, and I was surprised to have, a delegation coming from Mudun. And I was happy, and they asked me about, the industry, the technology, the evolving. They had some of their colleagues coming from SIDF, and we just joined, and we had a tour in the exhibition. We launched already our strategy, and in 2019, for another event in the region, David Fernandez, who is my partner, he was shareholder of Meta2i. I asked him, I said, I know Saudi Arabia and the region, please go and discover and make your own opinion. So David, when he came back, he was angry. He told me, Faisal, I think we don't have any chance there. I said, why are you saying that, David? He said, listen, they have already 5G. They have already get advanced in so many, dominant sectors and technologies. So I don't know how we can compete with this, especially when you have the infrastructure. So I told him, yes, but still in the industrial and the industry sector, there is a lot of work to do. And I can tell you, from between 2017, 2019, and now, the quick evolution that we are seeing in Saudi Arabia is just tremendous and crazy. I have my guys coming from France, starting to work to IoTech. They already, tired, about the rhythm and the acceleration that's happening in Saudi Arabia. So I think from this side, we have a regulator that is ready. We have, C4I AR Center, the Center of Industry Fourth Revolution, Tanafusiyya, Future Factory program, the universities, we have Mudun, the Industrial Center. All these stakeholders are pushing and supporting. The only two, problem or obstacles that we have right now, it's not related to technology. As we said, we have the infrastructure, we have the capital, human resources that, seeking for technology, and they want, to develop in technologies. But I think, the business owner, the business, the factory owners, and also the worker inside these factories, they still to have more awareness program to understand. I can understand that an owner of a business, he will, have put in between his eyes, the cost, the expenses, etc. And we, companies like us, come to him. We represent the whole cost, and it's difficult to convince him about the return of the investment. But in our case, we have a tremendous amount of data and use cases, for the last 4 decades, and we explain to them in a very similar situation how they can overlap their, lose of productivity, so lose of profits. So, and also the operator. There is a huge amount of work to do in terms of change management. The operator themselves, the engineers inside these, factories, as Mr. Joshua just said, they need to understand that this technology is here to help you doing your job, not to replace you. This technology is here to help the decision maker to take the right decision.
I'm going to ask Mr. Retzman to respond to that, because this is why he's come to Saudi Arabia for his visit. So, to meet those kinds of challenges.
Look, we have not touched very interesting technology developments like digital twins, fully automated warehouses, AMRs driving around. But if my research is correct, and I looked it up, is that we have currently around about 12,000 factories here in Saudi Arabia. The aim is to triple this number to 36,000 by 2030. At the same time, we have 1.3 million people working in the manufacturing sector here in Saudi Arabia, and this number only increases to 1.5 million. So if we quickly do the math, there's a CAGR from 20% number of new factories versus only 4% in the number of people doing the job out there. How is this possible? This is only be possible by increasing automation and focusing on AI-powered manufacturing. Nevertheless, and I really liked the wording we heard already, the ecosystem factory. The European Commission now launched the new age of industrialization 5.0. This is a human-centered industrialization, enabling basically new manufacturing and robotics working alongside with human beings. This will allow us and give us the opportunity, and this is also what we heard today already, that we, with our great minds, can really focus on solving the great problems of then looking into a future which is bright, using technology and enabling the people doing the job becoming even greater.
Thank you. And Mr. Steiner, you're the last spokesman here. The future of manufacturing in Saudi Arabia, your thoughts, looking from the outside in, what do you see the future?
Yeah, absolutely. The future of Saudi Arabia in Vision 2030 and beyond is amazing, right? And manufacturing is a cornerstone of that. From the automobile and automotive investments to the electronics investments, it's clear that high-tech manufacturing, advanced manufacturing is coming here. There's a lot of support programs like SIDF and the other ministries to provide support. But I think one of the challenges is the people. And to minimize that economic leakage and to keep as much of that value generated here and create really a population where the people can build happy, healthy, productive lives on manufacturing, which is really the root of success in Europe and America and increasingly in Asia. I think that's really what's going to be critical here. And I'm looking forward to working with investors coming into the kingdom. I'm working with a lot of entities now that are super excited about it. So the world is excited about Saudi Arabia, and I think there's the Saudi teams are really excited about it. I think the potential is huge.
Thank you very much. Everybody, let's give him a big round of applause for joining us today. And I'm going to ask you to do a photo, if you don't mind. Sure. We have our photographer here. So if you don't mind standing. We'll be starting the next session in a few minutes. I'd just like to introduce our speaker, Dr. Jens Jacobsen. He is the development manager at HMS Labs. He has wide industry experience from technical and resource management positions with great companies such as HMS Networks, Schneider Electric, and Motorola Solutions. So lots of big brand names there where he's gained his industrial experience. He has 7 granted patents with telecom and industrial communications brands or products. So a very learned gentleman, and Dr. Jens will be with us in a few minutes. If you would like a translation of the next session or any of the sessions today, please use our artificial intelligence translation system. Use the QR code on the boards. I think I have a slide with the QR code as well, in case anybody wants to see that slide. We'll ask the AV technicians to put that up. And you have your pick of 57 languages that you can use for the translation. It comes straight to your telephone, and you can download the transcription of the session in your own language afterwards if you want a takeaway. So since we're dealing with smart intelligence, smart manufacturing, and smart AI, try the smart translation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morgan. So at HMS Networks, we have different product brands. We have AnyBus, that is communication between machines. We have XAT, which is communication inside machine. We have E1, which is communication from the machine to the cloud, and Intersys, which is building automation. And within each brand, we have development organizations that maintain these products, new features, bug fixes, and so on. But we also realize that we need somebody to look further into the future. And I'm so fortunately that this is my responsibility. So within my group, which we call HMS Labs, we are tasked with looking 5 to 10 years into the future. And we have some special focus areas. One of them is private 5G networks for industrial production. We look at artificial intelligence, we look at edge computing, and of course we also look at network security. And the way we do this is that we try to build our vision of the future. So we build demonstrators, we take this to proof of concept with end customers, and also we take our demonstrators to trade shows, and then we have dialogue with the end customers to see if we are on the right track with our image of the future. So all these images here are pictures from trade shows where we have showed different things, except for the last picture here, which are some of our students, because we also use a lot of master students from universities to test out different ideas. We see that there are several macro trends that drive future factories. One of them, which is very, very strong, is sustainability. Another one, which is related to sustainability, is energy efficiency. This is also becoming more and more important. And then in the past, we used to talk about globalization, but now we're talking about deglobalization instead. So it's about nearshoring your production so that the impact of transport is not so big from a sustainability perspective, but it's also the changing geopolitical situation that means that some countries that used to trade with each other are not so eager to trade with each other anymore. Which also brings me to agility, because all the time the requirements for our production is changing, so we need to make sure that we stay agile in our factory. Then we need to keep an eye on factory uptime, and of course all this drives connectivity, so we need to be very, very focused on network security. Let me go back a couple of 100 years. So if 200 years ago I needed a new shirt, I would go to my tailor, he would take my measurements, and then he would produce a shirt specifically for me. And this is what we call craft. Let's see if I can get... it's so wide, so it's okay. This is what we call craft production. So we had very low volume per product, usually only one product per production batch, and we also had a huge variety. And then fast forward to 100 years ago, here illustrated by the Ford Motor Company, we got mass production. So now we could produce cars that were so cheap that people could afford them. So it means that the volume per product went up and the product variety went down. So of course, customers were very happy that they could now afford to purchase a car. But they were also bothered that the car that they purchased was exactly the same as the one owned by the neighbor. And this is when we went into this era of mass customization. So now you could choose the color of your car, you could choose whether you wanted sunroof or no sunroof, heating in the seats or no heating in the seats, and so on. And where we are now is that we are moving into what we call personalized production. So it means that the products become more and more personalized. And it also means that the volume per product becomes lower, and we have an ever-increasing variety of our products. So this is driving very, very strongly the need to have very, very agile and fully automated factories. So let me give you a couple of examples. Last month I needed some new running shoes, so I went into the Adidas website and I picked me a couple of shoes here. And then when I was about to pay, they asked me, do you want customization? Yes, and of course I wanted customization, so that I can put my personal message on each shoe, but it also means that instead of having a mass-produced product, this becomes a personalized product specifically for me. Another example is this very primitive summer house I have together with some friends. Last year we needed new windows, but of course it's so old that no standard windows will fit. But you just go into a website somewhere, you order the windows specifically to your specifications. So once again, you have a personalized product delivered. And finally, if I need a new shirt, I can go into a website. I can, instead of just specifying small, medium, large, where I get a shirt that's a little bit too big in some places and too small in other places, I can now once again get a shirt that fits exactly to my body. So what is actually the challenge today? Well, we see that during the last 30 or 40 years, we have automated all the machines, so they are fully automated now. So this is not the challenge. We also see that we have these amazing warehouses, so everything is automated, everything is performed automatically. So this is okay as well. But what we do see is that we still have people moving material manually from the warehouse to the machine, and manually moving finished products from the machines back to the warehouse. So this is one issue that we need to address. We also see that in the factories, we have some tasks that cannot be fully automated yet. These are typically final assembly, but also quality control. So of course, this is also manual work that we need to address. We also see that although the machines have been automated, we still need people to operate the machines. And what these people typically do is that they go to the IT system, then they print out a work order, and then they take the work order back to the machine and they type in to the panel of the machine what the machine has to produce. So of course, this is also an area we need to look at when we have ever-increasing product variety and smaller batch sizes. And the vision, of course, sometime in the future is that we will have everything in our factory automated, so much automated that we can turn off the lights and we will obtain this lights-out manufacturing where the machines are producing by themselves. They are producing 24/7, but we still need people to do the product designs, of course, but also to monitor the production. If we look a little bit at the IT systems and my window from before and my shoes, we see that there's an order flow from when somebody puts in an order to a retailer, then that goes typically to a brand owner, it goes to the OEM and maybe to a sub-OEM. And then as things get produced and delivered, you have a flow of information the other way. And this is all something that's needed when we have more and more personalized products. And of course, one challenge here is that we want the machines to be connected to the IT systems, but it's not enough with the machines. We also need to consider the interlogistics and the interlogistics which need to be connected as well. Another part of the puzzle is wireless communication, because we see that all the time things are changing, so we need to stay agile. And we also see we get more and more autonomous guided vehicles, and these vehicles, they need wireless communication in order to know where they should go. And then generally to stay agile, we want to replace as many wires in the factory as possible. So we see that in the past, there has been wireless communication in the factory, but it has kind of been seen as a necessary evil, something that you had to use, but you didn't really want to use it. But now it's turning into a competitive advantage, because if you have wireless communication, it enables the agility of your factory and it enables full automation of your factory. So wireless becomes increasingly important. And of course, at HMS, we have products that solve many of these challenges here. And you can see some of them at our booth here at the trade show. But what we're focusing on at HMS Lab is specifically private 5G networks for industrial production. So with private 5G networks, you establish a private network specifically for your factory. And in order to do this, you need to obtain spectrum. So you need radio frequencies that you can use for your own private network. And here we see that over the last 5 years or so, more and more countries of the world have given the opportunity that you can go to the government and request frequencies to use for private networks for production. So we see this in the US, we see it in Canada, most countries in Europe have this, in Australia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. So here you can go to the government, apply for a license, they will give you the license, and then you can operate your private 5G network. But what about the countries where you do not have this option to go to the government? Well, actually, in other countries, you can go to the mobile operators, and then they can either sub-license frequencies to you to use for private network, or they can provide a private 5G network for your factory. Another big question is who will operate the private 5G networks? And we see different players here. One big group of players is the mobile operators, all organized within the DSM association. So we see in the US, we see Verizon as a big player. In Europe, it's Telecom and Vodafone. In the Nordics, we see Telia. And they are all eager to supply the factory with a private 5G network. And they know the 5G technology, but of course they're not so used to the factory environment. At the other end of the spectrum, we have the industrial systems integrator. And here we see at the moment Siemens as being one of the big players, because Siemens this year has introduced a private 5G network offering, complete with the network and devices. So it means that you can get a 5G network from somebody who knows industrial automation. So, and then of course Siemens will guarantee that it works with your OT systems. And the third players that we see that are competing for this market here, it's the IT services companies. So it's the likes of Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Tata, Accenture, IBM. So these companies, they are often already suppliers to the factories, but on the IT system side. And they see 5G networks as an extension of the IT systems. So these players are all trying to establish themselves as suppliers of private 5G networks for factories. Yet another big question is whether you in your factory. So it's given that you need to have wireless communication to stay agile, but should you use Wi-Fi or 5G? So if you use Wi-Fi, you see that you have unlicensed spectrum. So it means you don't need to ask anybody before you put up your network. So this is very advantageous. It's also an enterprise technology. So it's quite easy to set up. It works worldwide, which is important if you're a machine manufacturer. You want to be able to ship worldwide. And then it's quite cost efficient. 5G on the other side, you see that you need licensed spectrum. So it means you need to apply for the spectrum. But the good thing about licensed spectrum is that the interference and the disturbances we see on Wi-Fi, we do not see on 5G. So the reliability of the 5G network is a lot higher than running a Wi-Fi network. We can also use higher power on 5G, so it means that we get better coverage. We need less access points or base stations, and this is particularly true for outdoor coverage. And then finally, it's a robust carrier-grade technology. So generally, 5G is more robust in the communications compared to Wi-Fi. So in the end, this choice depends on the needs of the factory. So typically, if you have a large plant with strict requirements for the reliability and availability, you will go with 5G. Otherwise, it's more cost efficient to go with Wi-Fi. So to give you some key takeaways, we see that we have one challenge is that we get shorter and shorter product life cycles. So it's very important in today's factory environment to stay agile. And with agility comes the need for wireless. So replace the wires with wireless communication as much as you can. So if you have a large plant, consider private 5G. But usually in all cases, you need to have a very, very good Wi-Fi network. Another challenge is that we see smaller and smaller batch sizes. And when we have the smaller batch sizes, we need to increase the automation, and it means that the machines need to be connected. So we need to integrate OT and IT. And for this, we also need to have edge gateways on the machine so that they can adapt the communication and do pre-processing when they talk to the IT systems. And then the third challenge is that once we start connecting everything, our factory becomes vulnerable. So we need to stay secure, and one way to do this, according to the standards for security in factory automation, is that we segment the network into different parts, and then we use firewalls and couplers to connect the parts to make sure that the communication need to flow can flow, but also that you cannot have any unauthorized traffic between different parts of the factory. And finally, I would like to invite you to come and visit our booth here at the trade show. And also we have a white paper that's available for download. So thank you very much for listening. I hope I kept within your time limit. Dr. Morgan?
Dr. Jens, do you want to stay there? Because we might have some questions in the audience. And I think we have a roving microphone somewhere. We do. Binesh has a microphone. Hands up with anybody who's got a question about 5G. Anybody want to ask Dr. Yeah, here we have a question here. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Imad. I would like to know what 5G products you have currently available, and can you please brief us about it?
Could you turn the volume up on the microphone? We can't hear the question. Could you turn the volume up on the microphone? We can't hear the question. Please again.
Yeah, I would like to know what 5G products currently HMS has in the market.
Yes. So thanks a lot for the question. Yeah. So we have been working with 5G for private networks within our labs organization. So this is really kind of like an incubator. So initially we had some prototypes, then we put a product on the market. This is around 3 years ago. So this was one of the early products for industrial 5G. And now we have what we call the 5G Vault, which is a device that's optimized to put on ADVs and put on machines. And this we have matured within our HMS Labs organization. And now it's in the process of being transferred to our business units, because within labs we sell only to selected partners, but now it's being transferred to the business unit, so it will roll out globally with a global support organization and introduction to all the sales teams and so on, because we see now that the market has it's kind of maturing, and more of the bigger factories, they are rolling out 5G, so they are asking for products to connect to the network. But at the same time as HMS, we also see that typically our customer is, sometimes it's the factory, but more often we sell to the machine builders that then sell to the factory. So typically, if we talk about autonomous guided vehicles, the factory will deploy the 5G network, but the the ADV manufacturers will then purchase our 5G product and integrate with the ADV, and then the ADV will be sold to the factory. So there's a big movement going on within the ecosystems for 5G.
Excellent. Does that answer your question? We have time for one more question. Anybody in the audience? One more question for Dr. Jens. Okay, let's call it at the end, shall we, Doctor? Thank you very much for coming. Let's give him a big round of applause, please. And as he said, you can go to their booth at hall 4, which is opposite here, 421, and look for HMS. They'll be only happy to answer your questions or make a sale. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, starting in a few minutes, we have our next session. It is digitization in manufacturing, driving industry 4.0 and digital transformation. I'm just going to get our speakers lined up. We have engineer Fawaz Al-Shamari, engineer Sami Sarhan, we have Mr. Vacha Kalvakian, I hope I said that correctly, and Mr. Alexei Gavrilov. I've been practicing all night, but sometimes I don't get it perfect, sorry. But welcome to your, we'll just have somebody put up the names. Can I have my name person, please? Thank you very much. We're going to put the seat names, sit where you like. please. And then we'll just put the name next to you, the right name. Okay, I'm just going to talk over the announcements so we can kick it off. Okay. First of all, what I'd like to do is if we just go down the row, and if I give you 1 minute each, just to say who you are, where you're from, and maybe your favorite color, or where you took your grandmother for dinner last night. You know, just introduce yourself to these guys, please.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. James.
Oh, sorry, and much closer to the microphone if
Okay.
you don't mind. Thank you.
I hope it's good now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. James, for this opportunity. I'm very excited to be part of such a panelist. I am Fawaz al-Shammari. I am leading the digital industries in Saudi Arabia for Siemens, a business unit or a division where we have most of the technology and digitalization topics related to the digital transformation. I've been with Siemens almost 3 years. March, I have completed 3 years. Before that, I was in the telecom sector, so it's not far away from the technology. Degree-wise, I have my bachelor's degree from Purdue University, electrical engineer, and my MBA from Prince Sultan University. We didn't go for lunch or dinner recently, but ready to go tonight. Thank you.
Engineer, could we hear from Engineer Sahan, please?
Yes, thank you so much for the invitations. I'm happy to be here representing King Abdullah University for Science and Technology. I started my career with Saudi Aramco, working on manufacturing and making sure how do we connect systems within the oil and gas plants. Moved into something very different, joined a university and been working and helping supporting small medium enterprises specifically. I'm very ambitious about their challenges and how we can actually help them implement new technologies. Lately, we're establishing a 4IR center, Fourth Industrial Revolution Center, in the university. Throughout the discussion, I'll be more than happy to give you more insights. Thank you.
Mr. Kavlakian.
Hi everyone, Salam alaikum. My name is Vachi Kavlakian. I am a CEO and co-founder of Nasma Digitech and Digitech company. I am based in UAE and Saudi. I am one of the pioneers in digitalization and automation for pre-press, pre-media, and printing packaging businesses in the region. And my background goes to 3 decades of automate and deploy IT solutions for printing, media, and packaging industries. And with my team, we took Digitech through 20 years for the leading and pioneer position for our industries, pre-media, pre-press, and printing, digital printing industries. Thank you.
Mr. Gavrilov.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Alexey Gavrilov. I am leading digital supply chain and manufacturing topic across Middle East and Africa region in SAP. So it's nice to be here. It's a pleasure for me, and the good thing, I see a lot of engineering flavor. I am also engineer for the laser and laser equipment. Interesting fact about me, pretty much whole my career was related with the different aspects of the supply chain. So it's pretty much 18 years already. I was implementation engineer for MES systems. I was project manager. I was business consultant. I was account manager, and now I'm leading the full line of business. A few words about what SAP really understand by that, right? By that name, digital supply chain and manufacturing. Actually, it's several areas. It's starting from the supply chain planning, it's logistic execution, everything related with the transportation management, warehouse management systems. It's also covering the manufacturing execution system, IT/OT integration, the topics regarding environment, health and safety, PLM topic, and last but not least, the assets, everything related with the proper asset management.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Okay, so let's stay with you, Mr. Gavrilov. in terms of your expertise, what to you is an intelligent factory, and what kind of solutions does SAP provide for that genre?
Yeah, let's start probably from the thing that intelligence factory, it's the one dimension from the industry 4.0 which we see in SAP, right? If we are talking about intelligence factory, this is first of all industrial transformation through the digital technologies, which help really gather, analyze data, build the most efficient processes, really help you to deliver high quality, individualized products for the lower cost. From one side, it sounds a little bit general, but let me bring you one example from our customer. So let's imagine the engine production, and let's imagine that you have now tasked to really produce lot size 1. So you can produce the one engine for sure, but the question mark, so what you will do if you have a lot of different variations, a lot of different options? Obviously, in the traditional way, you have a lot of issues related with that. How you will supply the components for the line, how you will do the kitting, how you will control the quality controls, and so on. So the technology itself helped a lot to really synchronize this process, simplify it, and keep it on the lower cost. In other dimensions, which we also consider as a part of the Industry 4.0, is the topics regarding the assets, right? So how we can run our assets in the most reliable way, how we can do the predictive and preventive actions. So another aspect, it's all about the people. For example, how we can help people, operator, workers in the field to really make a robust decision. How we can help it through the augmented reality, through the remote support or whatever. So all these aspects is extremely important. And last thing which I would like to highlight is when we talk about the products, it's the topic regarding the smart products. So of course now we can really incorporate the sensors in all type of the products which we produce. And if you will think about that, how we can use the data from these sensors? Can we do the servitization business model? So can we provide the service to our customers rather than product itself? Can we improve our product through the R&D, taking into account all this data from the sensors? So all these aspects is really showing the Industry 4.0 in our understanding.
Thank you. Mr. Kavlaki, in your experience, this digital transformation that you've been talking about, particularly in the print and packaging areas, how are you optimizing that operational excellence through digital transformation, using some of the ideas that we've just heard from the previous speaker? Tell us about your processes there.
Yeah. First of all, I took to be more efficient and more direct to point and to optimize my words. I will use some bullet points. But in general, we have a large experience in automation and digitalization of our businesses. Before 20 years, everything was manual. Everything starting people, they carrying hard disk and going to the packaging and converters and making everything manually. Today, everything is, we could able to automate it. So you are sitting in your office, you can give approval for any packaging design, starting from design and the processes, color separations, pre-media sections, and at the end, 3D visualization for any product. All this can be in the digital process and automation, which gives for, first of all, brand owners, and then for the manufacturer and operator, the big advantages to avoid any mistake, reduce the cost, and reduce the waste, as well as to improve the efficiency and the diversity of the products. In example, before 15 years, we were able to touch or produce every day 4 jobs. Today we are able with almost same human resources, but with digitalization to finalize 60 to 80 jobs daily. And that's huge. And imagine if you need this human sector for 60 jobs a daily. So it'd be a huge waste and huge inefficiency. Also, in the printing processes and packaging processes, digitalization played a big and amazing role in controlling the production and controlling the feedback. Today, there's a lot of systems that can control the feedback from the customers, from the end users about the packaging and from different resources. So in example, if a brand is printing or making packaging with different resources, with the digitalization processes can have a direct feedback and direct actions.
And Engineer Sohan, at the Future Industry Center, how are you contributing to this image that's been built up by these two speakers in terms of digitization? I mean, you've obviously done a lot of research and you're implementing that.
Right. So thank you very much. So let me very quickly introduce the university. Maybe not all of you know King Abdullah University at the west coast of Saudi Arabia, at the Red Sea. So in 2019, we've done a study, and we've actually surveyed more than 500 SMEs in the kingdom, just to understand how a science and technology university can actually support and help SMEs, small medium enterprises. And so then we came up with a lot of wealth of data. The data came back and told us just one bit of it. 45% were saying lack of know-how and lack of knowledge. So we immediately jumped in and started developing programs around that. Now, lately, when we actually went in development the program for SMEs, we were asked by NEDLIP to establish one of 5 fourth industrial revolution centers in the kingdom. And our center specifically focuses on additive manufacturing and digital transformation. So what the gentleman actually explained in a minute is a lot of lack of those technologies within the SMEs. Today, our factory floors depends on human a lot. They depend on labor. The idea was that for any SME to walk into our centers and learn how they 4IR technologies can actually help them and support them. We will also be able to do a lot of the capacity buildings. They will be able to develop their product. They will be able to develop their MVPs. They will have a chance to actually touch new technologies and understand how they actually help them. In addition to other services that we will be providing in terms of consultancy services and what have you. Now, when we go back and look at the SMEs that we have today, specifically the factories, they lack a lot of these technologies. So not only that, they lack the know-hows on how they actually be able to implement that. So the center in the university not only will help in terms of the technologies, but also it will have the touch of innovations. And we understand now today with almost anywhere, honestly, without innovations and without being innovative, you won't be able to go far away. So we're putting our talent, our postdocs, our PIs into helping solving some of these challenges that these SMEs face.
So that transformation, sorry, just to extend that point, that transformation in these SMEs, obviously they need some investment to transform. But is that an incremental transformation, or is it just a wholesale scrap that, start again?
No, it will have to be transformed on a gradual basis. It will be very difficult to tell a factory, scrap everything, start from new. That's a huge capital. They might not be able to do it. However, today we've heard a little bit of the SIDF, for example, with the promising factories and with the different programs and the initiatives that the government is actually helping these SMEs. For example, the very first thing we need to do a series, for example, analysis, where they actually understand where they are in terms of readiness. Are you ready to transform or not? and then they will have some sort of an index to understand, yes, I need to do this, but however, I need to maybe change this whole thing because this is outdated, that sort of things. Yeah, and we do actually, part of our support and help, we do introduce them to investors and different government entities that can actually help them to support and excel.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Engineer El Shamari, the prototype of 4.0 from your perspective at Siemens and the challenges attached to that and some of the innovations, could you tell us about that too?
Sure, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, Siemens, we are relying on 175 years of innovation, industry, and pioneering on the industrial sector. We've been inventing a lot of technology and being very pioneer and very going forward for all the technologies that is needed for the industries. Even if you want to say it is a product side, if we talk about the automation, PLC, SCADA, we are leading the market there, and we are trying to even reinvent a new technology. If we talk about software also, it's a big topic for us. Nowadays, we are investing a lot in software. Recently, in the recent years, Siemens has invested around 10 billion euro on software. We are having more than 1,500 scientists specialized in AI and software, either acquiring companies with their resources or having our own team. If we look to the portfolio itself, we have a major standalone portfolio which can help the industry, either SMEs, as Engineer Simon said, or the large enterprise. We have recently introduced Siemens Accelerator, which is a platform where you have our own product solution services as well as our partner product services and solution to make sure it is a one-stop shop for all the customers. This is an integrated platform. We are also bringing it here in Saudi, and it will make our customer life much easier to see what to do, what to choose, what to choose first. If we talk about also, for example, edge computing, which is one of the latest technology and used a lot on the industrial sector to reduce latency and to make sure the decision making near to the source. This is also something very huge that we are doing, and we are very proud in Siemens. Today we have announced the localization of edge computing with a local partner here announced today. Providing such technology to the kingdom is something very essential for us as a Siemens to make sure we are contributing to the kingdom growth. Another important also technology we are using a lot is the AI for sure. As you mentioned on the translation, for example, with the AI able to translate 57 languages, it's also not far from making our life much easier and fruitful by utilizing such technology. It can help in terms of productive, preventive maintenance. It can help in terms of life cycle of the product, and it can help in the operating cycle itself. Digital twin, one of the technology which is very essential, used a lot for us and for our partner in terms of doing a replica of the whole process to make sure whenever you want to do any change, it is the best optimal changes and the process. All these technologies we've been using globally as well as regionally and in the country to make sure we are providing the full latest technology with the skill set available to make sure helping the kingdom in their industrial vision.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And then, so when Siemens, utilize all these different technologies, how are you contributing to this incrementalization of, the smart factories? Are you retrofitting, or what's the process there?
Sure. There is actually two approaches. One, if we talk about the greenfield factory, we have a consultancy arm, which is Siemens Advanta, to make sure the design of the factory from day one, it is based on the latest factory design in terms of the sustainability, automation, IoT, and all these technology to be planned from the beginning. Retrofitting for the greenfield, it's something very major for us. As you know, things getting old with time. Energy efficiency is also something very crucial for the enterprise and for factories. So retrofitting is something very essential. However, it's very important to make sure you do this in phases. You cannot go and retrofit everything at once. So things has to be done in a proper planning in terms of the assessment at the beginning to make sure the plan is clear, the interoperability as well as the compatibility of the products and the new product and the software is there, because a lot of cases when you go to a factory, you will not find all one vendor, let's say, product. It might be mix and match. So make sure the retrofitting and the new technology to be introduced is very beneficial and adding value to the customer.
Thank you. So, Professor Sohan, if we go back to what you're doing at KAUST, there's a lot of people who might be sitting in this room right now that are considering that move to digitization, to transformation. How's it going to improve their production line or their profit line? And how's it going to improve the industrialization of Saudi Arabia?
Right. So specifically in the centers, what we focus on capacity building. We understand everything goes around human. So the very first thing what we do in the centers, if anyone wants to learn, for example, how can an AI benefit them in the factory? So we do that. We help them to understand how such a technology can help. Another thing, for example, anything related to industrial Internet of Things. Any of those technologies, AI, IoTs, VR, or even as simple as 3D printing. So those things actually will be able to introduce to the people who wants to develop themselves. So if an SME comes in and say, look, I have my production line and I wanted to make sure, how can I implement some of this technology on this production line? So then we will be able to do that. Now, in terms of how are we chipping into the kingdom's digital transformations, we as a university, we do a lot of research and we do a lot of science and technology outbreaks. However, the kingdom is going on with a lot of digital transformation, and we're not far away from that. What we do actually, we do help some of the entities in the kingdoms to actually help them with the digital transformations. We work a lot with NEDLIB, for example. They are working with different entities. We work with NEOM. We've heard about Oxygon this morning, and this afternoon. So we actually working with them as well. We work with various entities from all the way from small, medium enterprises to large enterprises to government to actually put hands on hands and help them to take the digital transformation forward. Now, the best thing about the university is that you have these academic minds, you have these professors and postdocs. You give them a challenge, they will be more than happy to dig into as much as possible and get you the solutions. Now, we know for a fact not every challenge will have a solution, but at least you will have those bright minds putting enough time and effort to be able to come up with solutions. We actually launched back in 2020. We launched a portal called Knowledge Partnership Program. I'm very proud to say that probably the only university in the kingdom that launched this specifically for SMEs. And what we're telling SMEs, please give us a challenge, okay? We'll be more than happy to address it. Do not give us a challenge about labor, do not give us a challenge about business, government. Give us a technical challenge that you're facing on your factory floors. It is up and live, by the way. You can go and see it. So we've been, since the Everlunch, we've actually solved almost 190 challenges.
Wow.
And various things. Some of them went to our core labs, for example. Some of them went and reside in the university. Some of them actually went to do some research, because we understand the real life challenges. We don't have technology ready for everything that we need to solve. You still have to do a lot of research. You still have to embed innovations in order to address those challenges.
Could you just explain to the audience very quickly what NIDLIB is, because some of them might not know it?
Absolutely. So NEDLIB is the National Industrial Development Program. it is one of the programs under the Vision 2030. So the Vision 2030 put different programs to be able to implement, and every 5 years these programs get reviewed. So there's a program for digital transformation, there's a program for the manufacturing, which is NEDLib is doing that, and logistics. There's even a program for Hajj and Umrah as well. So there's other programs. So NEDLib is specifically helping and supporting all the SMEs to scale up from just regular a factory to a more advanced factory. Not only that, they also focus on logistics, they also focus on supply chains, they focus also on minerals as well. So they do have a lot of programs underneath, and they are very supportive in terms of even subsidizing some of the programs. For example, our center is fully subsidized and funded by NEDLib.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in seeing some of the startups or the innovations from NIDLib, at the back of Hall 4, there's a whole area of startups or young companies that are innovating in Saudi Arabia. So if you're interested, walk down to the end of Hall 4 and you can have a look at the NIDLib Pavilion. It's very, very enlightening, some of the amazing stuff that these young people are coming up with. I'm going to go to Mr. Kavlakian. And back to your factory at Nesma, and it's a future factory, right? So tell us a bit more about some of the challenges in that future factory. I've gone off script, so if you've prepared something, I'm sorry, I'm throwing this out there.
No, it's okay.
But what are some of the challenges that you've experienced in the future factory?
The biggest challenges, it's trainings and human education. In my opinion, the harmony is the secret. To harmonize between human factor and AI and technologies is the biggest challenge for all of us, from my perspective. And here is the secret for success. As long as we can harmonize the things and manufacturing and industries and between human added values and AI and new technologies and all kind of technologies factors, we will be successful. There is nothing can be done without human, and there's nothing can be done without technology. So here is the biggest challenge, the harmony between both of them.
That's very interesting because we just heard earlier about the European the EU's 5.0 industrial human-centered revolution that's happening now, their new policy. So it rhymes with that. Thank you very much. Mr. Gavrilov, the fundamentals of 4.0 and the Industrial Revolution 4.0, I'm taking a step back. Mm-hmm. What's your experience of that in terms of the supply chain? So if you think of the value chain of a pair of trainers or sports shoes, I mean, what's that supply chain look like?
Yeah, I would say probably I need to start from the beginning, right? SAP was from the day one of the journey of Industry 4.0. I think it was born in 2011 during the Hanover Messe. Since day one, we are really trying to play a big role in formulation of the really standards in that area, as well as we are part of the, for example, connectivity story, discussion on OPC UA protocol and so on. So coming back to the fundamental things, it's important to leverage the old technologies which we have so far available on the market. And to be honest, every day we see more and more small, big one. It's starting from, I don't know, RFID, IoT sensor, of course, AI. We are talking a lot about AI today. Simply cloud technology. With the cloud technology, for example, if we talk about the supply chain area, so the topics like business networks can be crucial here. Without this technology, without that, it's simply such models not possible. Let's assume, for example, you have assets, you have a sensor data which is read by the provider of this asset, and you have a service provider. So through the business network, you can really build the end-to-end process how you service and maintain your asset on your production. This is the one of the examples. There are many like this, but what is important and my probably key message is that it's not enough to have just the technology itself. It's important to incorporate your advanced technology, digital technology, to end-to-end business processes. And let me maybe highlight one more example on that from one of the first customers who adopt the predictive maintenance story. Let's assume we have a wagon with the doors opening and closing. So it's so simple right now to put the sensors of the door on the doors and see how many times it's open, rather than to do the traditional maintenance based on the number of kilometers which this wagon can go. So we can do the maintenance based on the real fact data, how many times this doors was open. But if you will think wider about that, so there are a lot of things which is related with this maintenance. You will not put the wagon to the service depot only because of door maintenance. So you need to link it with the many other activities which is incorporated. Or for example, if your AC in the wagon is broken, if it's AC of the first class or AC of economy class, is it the same priority and so on? So how we can really synchronize all this stuff, how we can really do the end-to-end visibility of the processes, this is extremely important. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're on to our fourth round of questions, so this will be the last round. Engineer Al-Shamari, the future of industry is digital, right? We all know that, that's why we're here. What are your future expectations in industrial? You talked about edge computing already. You've talked about other aspects. How do you see Saudi developing all those technologies over the next 5 or 10? Let's go beyond Vision 2030.
Sure.
Let's get out that crystal ball of yours.
Sure, thank you. It's a very nice question, actually. Indeed, technology is developing a lot, and it is our vision as a technology leader, as a pioneer in the industry, as well as the companies, to capitalize in this and to help in the ambition, the plan of the Vision 2030. From the beginning of the vision, the technology was very essential there. That's why, as Prof. Sami mentioned, one of the biggest programs is NIDLIB, where it focused more on the technology. 2 years back, His Royal Highness, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Prime Minister, has announced the NIS, National Industrial Strategy, which is a very comprehensive plan to help and show what is the plan for the Saudi and what is the ambitious, and with all detailed figures on the Saudi market and where it is heading, basically. We are very proud in participating in this. Recently, for example, we see a lot of new factories coming in Saudi. We have seen also and witnessed how Alat has started, which shows how is the country are very bold and let's say assertive on their plan, how to execute. I would say one of the key things for the technology is preparing the human capital to make sure once we have these industries, these factories, we have the proper engineers to lead such technology and to operate it on the factories. We are very proud of the Saudi talented people, male and female, and the universities, graduated from a local university as well as from abroad, and trained in such big companies like Siemens. I would say the future is very big, and we are very proud being very active on such, let's say, dynamic happening in the market.
Well, then I'm going to ask Engineer Saihan a very similar question, but in terms of SMEs, and how do you see their future? How do you see that progressing over the next 5 to 10 years?
Absolutely. So one thing our study actually discovered is that the concept of innovation is not so clear within the SME environment. Now, I want to make sure that people understand when we talk about SME, small, medium enterprises. We're not talking about a startup. We're not talking about large companies. There's a very specific definition from Munshad for SMEs. These are 15 years, 20 years company, maybe established by the father. You know, they've been going on paycheck to paycheck. They would not take any I would say, risk of adding something new. So embedding innovation mindset is extremely important. So that's a lot of what we do. So for example, one of the programs that we launched in our SME innovation services is called SME Maharat. The word Maharat means skills in Arabic. Under that, we have one category called Fikra. Fikra means idea. And in that, we do a lot of work in letting SME understand how innovation today is extremely important. We know for a fact today either you lead or you be in the back seat, and the only thing that can make you lead is innovation. So within SME, we like to embed that as much as possible. Number two, we also embed trying things and taking risks within SMEs. And I think this is very difficult. So a lot of these guys might not have enough dollars or enough money to be able to take risk. So what we do, we de-risk that by finding, proper investments or subsidy programs and what have you. And this has been going on for almost 4 or 5 years. And we learned the psychologies of these SMEs guys. And we've been going through and let them know that innovations is not something that you will make you lose money, or it's on other one, it actually make you expand customers, new products. You can actually do a lot with innovation. So I want to just stop it here, but there's many other things we can actually talk about when it comes to SME capacity building.
Thank you very much. I just want to extend one thing there. Are these SMEs risk averse in terms of innovation,
Yes.
or they don't understand the concept of innovation?
Absolutely. So for example, they might have innovation in their mind, quality control, or they might have different versions of what innovations means to them. And when we go to them from a university, oh, he's going to do a lot of research, and so it took us time really to understand how these SMEs think. And I'm very proud to say that ever since we started back in 2019, right now in our database, we have over 9,000 SMEs. Alhamdulillah, we've been going on penetrating a lot. Very proud to say that probably KAUS is the only university in the kingdom that is actually going and penetrating into this particular sector, understanding how we can actually help them.
Excellent. Good work.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kavlakian, in terms of your company and Internet of Things, how's that impacting your factory operations? Because we haven't really touched on IoT much.
Yes. Actually, I consider discussing about IIoT. I consider IIoT is the most powerful component of Industrial Revolution 4. It's a bridge where everything and all these revolutionary technologies are gathering together. And the beauty of IIoT that it will add a very tremendous value for each component. And the value of sum of all component value will be exponential, becoming bigger with the IIoT environment. So I consider IoT, it's providing for any manufacturing facility or any industry smart environment that will transform the businesses and utilize them and optimize the maximum everything you have. In our case, in IIoT, in the Industrial Internet of Things, we gather and connect together all the machinery, feedbacks, servers, IT platforms, softwares, as well as human mistakes, inventories, and all those things together. And also, we are finding some way to interfere in the production of our customers and to correct the mistakes. And they interfere in our systems if they need to change something or prioritize something. So I cannot imagine any manufacturing facility in the future without this environment.
Excellent. Okay. And lastly, Mr. Gavrilov, again, 4.0 and SAP, the National Transformation Program, are you aware of that? And how are you contributing to that through your company?
Mm-hmm. First of all, I would like to say that I am really impressed with this program, and I see every day the speed of change. I see a lot of companies which is appearing pretty much every week, and they have very ambitious plan to grow, and they really developing very fast. It's really amazing to see this. In terms of the Industry 4.0 contribution to that, in terms of SAP contribution to that, I truly believe, since we discuss a lot of things, we talk about the flexibility, we talk about the lower cost, and so on and so forth. So obviously, Industry 4.0 can bring a lot of efficiency, specifically for the topic of the, for example, program, development industrial program and logistics, right? So if you think about that, strategically wise, geographically wise, Saudi Arabia is located in very good position, right? Because it's in the middle between Europe, Asia, Africa. So logistically, it's a very good position to really win the global competition. And taking into account the efficiency which is in this Industry 4.0 brings, so you can really win the global market. I'm pretty sure that it's realistic and very achievable. So I truly believe that Industry 4.0 can bring a lot for the Saudi Arabia.
I've got a difficult question as a consumer. I like personalizing products for myself. Can Industry 4.0 hyper-personalize my manufacturing or production lines or anything like that? I'm going to come to you, since you've been innovating in your company for a long time. Hyper-personalization in the manufacturing process, is it possible?
For sure it's possible. That's why there's no size can fit all. It depends on your need, it depends on the factory, it depends on the size, it depends on the investment that you want to invest actually. Based on all of this, it can be personalized and tailored made for the certain customers.
Okay. Anybody got any comments about that?
I have a bad news or good news, I don't know, but it's not will be your needs personalized. Also, your intuition will be personalized. Also, your perception you will see one day it will be personalized, and of course, your maybe emotional intelligence will be personalized.
Okay, that's a great answer. You got a response?
Yeah, I would like to add as well. So for sure, this is the nearest future. So it's already here actually, and we see a great example of the companies who go in the direction how we can really change our production and really bring this personalization. For example, if we are talking about the automotive industry, which is a pretty much, everybody knows that it's conveyor line, mass production, and so on. But what we see right now, and this is the real examples which is happening, for example, in Europe, when we see the completely different concept of the working. So they come with the modular production, when you don't have a really fixed routing for your production. So it's allow you really to bring a lot of customization and a lot of personalization in your routine production processes. Yeah. So we see this example is already reality. Yeah?
Excellent. Suits me anyway as a consumer. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was fantastic. Let's give them a big hand, yeah? And I'm going to ask for a photograph here in the front, if you don't mind. Yeah? Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce in a minute to the stage Mr. Murat Tuzum, who is Head of Manufacturing Industry at Autodesk. I'm just going to wait for this announcement to finish in the hallway, and then we'll start the session. In the meantime, Mr. Murat is the Head of Manufacturing at Autodesk for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. He's an industry leader with a demonstrated history of working in the computer software industry, and he will speak about the future of manufacturing, convergence of design and manufacturing. So please come to the stage that we welcome Mr. Tuzum. Give him a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Mr. Moderator presented. So I am leading the manufacturing business in Autodesk, and I'm glad to be here with the Saudi Arabia customers, manufacturers together. Autodesk is providing technology to the manufacturers to produce better products. And today I wanna mention you the future of making things under the era of uncertainty, which recently all we are, regardless from the industry, regardless from the country, all we are facing all together. And if I need to say a couple of words about Autodesk, so it's if you look at around and the skyscrapers you are seeing, the buildings, the bridges, the sports cars, or the chairs we are sitting, the pan, a well-designed pan, are designed and made with the software which we providing or the company is similar to us providing to the industry. So it's we are a software provider company. When we are meeting with the manufacturers like these events or visiting the companies, I am hearing that companies saying that we are different. And I totally agree. Each manufacturers are as unique as the products they make, the people they employ, and the value they provided. So no doubt on it. Each manufacturers are unique. But although these uniqueness, there is a common aim, common goals, each of us would like to achieve. And these are making better products, selling that products more, and generating value to the ecosystem that we are serving. There are several trends influencing the industries, which also mentioned in the previous panel. One of the global mega trend I want to mention you is the growth of population. By 2050, it is expected that the world population will reach to 10 billion. This means that more and more buildings are required, more kitchens are required, more kitchen equipments, more vehicles, more furniture, and we can continue forever. And this global trend is also influencing the manufacturing industry, as you can see on the screen. The Gartner survey shows us that 45% of new product developments are delaying at least 1 month. Because of increased demand, manufacturers are facing huge challenges to provide the products on time. That's why the delaying on the manufacturing processes, new product development is a huge challenge many of us facing. And to support this Gartner survey, also I want to show you another market research, which is sponsored by Autodesk in the Middle East region. We reached more than 200 manufacturers, Middle Eastern manufacturers, and we ask a question that what your customers ask from you, what's the priority of your customers? As you can see on the screen, the top criteria is faster delivery, on-time delivery. So it is even more voted than the product quality, more voted than the sustainability, and significantly more voted than the cost. And another market research I want to share with you is from the high reputation Harvard Business Review magazine. Harvard Business Review magazine investigation show us that 72% of products fail to hit profit targets. On top of these challenges, we have also some common issues, macro factors, which influencing the manufacturing. So these are rising cost, inflation, supply chain disruption, and skill shortage. Plus, specific to our region, Middle East region, more political and more economical factors influencing us. And under these uncertainty, manufacturers are on stress. They wonder what they should do, where they should start. This is a roughly estimation of the manufacturing company. And as you can see, there is different processes, and that different business processes has communication and interoperability problems, and these inefficient environments negatively impacting the productivity of the manufacture processes, negatively affecting the on-time delivery, which our customers expect from us, and also profitability, which we wanna achieve. Then, where should a manufacturer, where should we start? What's the starting point? In general, we are looking for the technology. So such as, and several terms, tens of different terms facing that, such as Industry 4.0, AR, big data, artificial intelligence, and even this makes the situation more complicated. Because as Autodesk, what we think that it's not only with technology. Changing the technology is not enough. It needs to be a journey and like similar to the picture, converting button from old way of manufacturing to the new way of manufacturing. And the new way of manufacturing is including the connecting to the processes, connect to the people in general. As all the manufacturers are familiar, so the traditional manufacturing process look like the picture on your left. So there is human interaction in every stage. There is less flexible operations. And these approach, these process helped us to achieve where we are today. But there are really big doubts that these processes, this approach will help us to achieve where we want to be in the next 20 years. And the picture on the right, you can see the diagram or the simulation of the new manufacturing processes where less human interaction we are facing, more flexible, and instead of serial manufacturing processes, more parallel business processes. And despite the many technological advancements, still majority of the manufacturing companies are acting in the traditional way. And as you can see, the disconnected workflows, disconnected processes negatively impacting the profitability and efficiency of the manufacturing processes of the companies. And workflows are disconnected. It needs to be recreated the work instead of reusing the data. And many cases, we are losing data, we are losing the insight of the design processes at all. This is the quick summary of the traditional process. It's starting with concept design, and in the second phase, product design, then adding functionality in engineering, then validating through simulation, and ultimately facing to the manufacturing, which we know and we are doing today. But this process is inefficient in today's conditions because in every phase change, there is a data loss, and there are some works we need to redo, and especially when we reach to the end of the process in the workshop, when the change request is required, we need to go back to beginning of the drawing board. So everything needs to start from the scratch. The change is really costly in this traditional approach. As Autodesk, we are offering manufacturing companies to do connected design and make processes shortly. And the name of the technology is Fusion Industry Cloud. It's cloud-based, connected design, make, simulation, and management environment. And via this technology, different stakeholders can work on the same project, on the same page simultaneously, and there is a seamless collaboration which minimize the roadblocks of the traditional manufacturing processes. Via this approach, as you can see the graphic, so the traditional approach, we are smoothing the curve and this eliminating the losses of time, losses of data during the phase changes, and providing that produce the products earlier, which the customer was expecting from the manufacturers, on-time delivery, faster delivery. So this approach helps manufacturers to make better products earlier. But it's not limited with the time only. It's not only time enhancement. In parallel, by adding artificial intelligence, by adding machine learning, automation technologies via Autodesk products, manufacturers can have exponential gains. I wanna only give a short summary on generative design in the last couple of minutes. So, generative design is AI, artificial intelligence powered design processes introduced by Autodesk. And this is the traditional design process. As you know that in the iteration phase, designer is working on a couple of concepts. And after finalizing that couple of concepts, testing the manufacturability of that designs, evaluating, validating, and ultimately manufacturing, producing a final product. This is the traditional one. But human mind is limited with our experiences. And we are limited to produce new concepts with our history. When artificial intelligence involved at this stage, as you can see that in the iteration phase, artificial intelligence help us to significantly more design iterations with the manufacturable options. So more options in quite lesser time, helping companies, helping manufacturers to design to production process shorter, but more innovative products as well. So outcome reach as an outcome, more innovative products. I want to only mention one case study in the last minutes, which General Motors, by using the Autodesk Fusion generative design functionality, producing the traditional safety belt equipment with 40% lighter, but also 20% stronger capability by using the generative design. And as you can see on the screen, also the 8 components consolidated into one via generative design and additive manufacturing capabilities as well, which also leads to the reducing labor cost. So what I want to summarize again, the technology we are providing to the manufacturers are helping you to design better products earlier. So let me skip that. And what next step we are suggesting to the manufacturer? So there is two-step approach. The first one is strategy briefing. In Saudi Arabia, we have local offices more than 10 years. We have also local solution partners, which at Hall 4, you can visit Kemet Arabia Autodesk's booth. So via our local solution partners and local team, we are suggesting strategy briefing sessions with your company to help you to define the basis of your manufacturing strategy. And after completed this step, in the second step, there are discovery sessions. We suggest you to sit your engineering team and our engineering team together to define the roadblocks and plan the future manufacturing steps in your company. So I want to thank you, all of you, to listen me. Again, would like to remind that at Hall 4, you can meet Autodesk solution partner Kemet Arabia and Autodesk team, which we will be there during today and tomorrow to discuss further collaboration opportunities. Thank you, everyone.
Or good evening, rather. We're back again after prayer time, and welcome to our next session. It's a fireside chat. New trends in plastics and petrochemicals. And we're very lucky to have with us today Mr. Srivastava. I hope I said that correctly. Srivastava, who's the Product and App Development Manager at Nanpet Schulman. So please come up on stage. Give him a round of applause, please. Welcome to the stage. Thank you very much for joining us today. And just so people in the audience know who you are, what you do, and where you're from, could you just give us a one minute biography, please?
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Himanshu Srivastava, and I am currently working with the Netped Shulman as a product and application development manager. And by profession, I am the plastic engineer and working in this industry around 15 year experience in the plastic compounding, recycling, petrochemicals, where I handle the entire techno-commercial role. So, yes.
Okay, well, that was very short, less than a minute. So the polymers in modern society, I mean, we use them everywhere. You see them everywhere. I think probably half the stage has some kind of polymer element to it. What are some of the innovations and trends shaping the future of the polymer industry?
Yeah, thanks the well questions. And if I ask in another way, that can be live without plastic, then I hope the question answer will make them no. So I will try to focus little bit about the plastics in our daily lives. Now, these are a part of our life, means daily routine. If I'm not wrong, from the wake up up to in the morning, up to the beds, and we are using the continuously, means every stage we are using plastic, like if you say like instead we are taking our toothbrush, and these are the like our the general purpose application. Then further moving to the our daily lives, if you see the utensils, and then automotives, we are using our the vehicle to the cars, and during office we are using our home appliances like cell phones, and up to the bed. Just I want to explain, means we cannot avoid the use of the plastic. The best things only there. That's how innovatively we can think to use up these plastics which is not affecting the model life. Now, coming to the current prospectus, what is going on in the market, we all know that in general we are saying that plastic is okay, it's not good for our health. Yes, it's not 100% correct, but it's correct. But we need to understand which application we are saying that is plastic is not goods. And if you see the current focus to avoid the pollution and our the environmental aspects, the all the professionals and scientists they are working to develop some type of the sustainable material, which could be like the some recycling and could be like the biodegradable plastic, could be like somehow like a new technology in like nanotechnology, where we are using the like big nano scale over the material to improve the property. So these are the upcoming in futures, and we see a lot of changes is going on. And not only the small player, actually the if you talk before the 2 to 3 years, or even let us say the 5 years, half decades, and just before the 5 decades, the world is totally changed. Everyone is focusing about the sustainability and new trend to protect our environment like this. And certain we are getting the even all of the OEM means like original equipment manufacturer, the car manufacturers. If they want, they always focus the sustainability at time of the PCR content in this material. So the sustainability and this is one of the best approach now going on.
So can I just pick up on your sustainability? What about organic-based polymers? Because I know that there's been some research done in Saudi Arabia, for example, that date waste has been used to create a polymer. Is that becoming a thing? Is that kind of technology being widely researched, or is it very expensive? Or
Yeah, organic, well, we say the other terminology we can use the bioplastic. So this is the like a bio-based plastic and a biodegradable plastics. There are two different ones, very common. So we need to understand. Uh, if I am saying the bio-based plastic means the monomers and chemicals they are from the biomass, opposite to the petroleums and fossil waste. So I will take one example like let us say everyone know the polypropylene and polyethylene. If you see the market and you will find that there is a material is available bio-based polyethylene, bio-based polypropylene. So these monomers, these are totally from the organic base rather than petroleum base. Other are the biodegradable polymers. These are also the biopolymers, a bioplastic, but that can be degraded. So these are the two difference and in organic polymers.
And when some people are saying advanced plastics, so what is an advanced plastic then? Can you explain to the audience?
See the advance is a very common word, right? So man, if you see the related definition, advancing the plastic, that is advanced plastic, right? So mainly the if you see the any base resin, and we are customizing for the end application. We are advancing their mechanical property. We are advancing the performance. We are advancing their the availability and terms of means like anything means we are advancing for the customizing use. One basic example, you might know about the compounding. So what is the process is there? Like we are adding on polymer certain other material, two or three type other material to improve their property. So these are the advanced plastic, and now the basic concept and current stage we are discussing like advanced and specialty plastics, that is next generations, and we did a lot of the value engineering in the or the commodity plastics.
I mean, as a consumer, I mean, what interests me is are the plastics that I'm using, how many of those might be biodegradable? How many of those plastics will, never biodegrade, or it's all going to end up in the ground? I mean, what, in terms of you as a plastics expert, how do you take the opinions of somebody like me as a consumer into, into account in terms of, polymer design and things like that? How do the consumer opinions and preserving the earth are taken into account of that equation?
So here the interesting questions, because the answering the question, we need to understand what is the application and what is the intention to degrade it. Like the degradation is directly means proportional to rate of the composting. In any biopolymer, just want to be clear, naturally these are not biodegradables. Biodegradable polymers means this will be degraded in presence of some bioorganisms, maybe the fungi, maybe the bacteria, like this. So while we are composting the bioplastics inside the soils or any composting medium, it's a thickness and composition of the material is most important. So if we are protecting in any like simple film grade or film body, that is a small thickness of the plastic, and that could be the from, like you can say that 6 months to 2 years, 1 years, like this. Depend upon the means their application to application. Now the biodegradable polymer itself, you will not find the pure in the market, because we need to modify them with certain additives, some biocomposites and all the things. So again, this is also the interacting. So we need to understand like what is the application, and it's vary from application to applications.
So is it more expensive to produce biopolymers than what we have at the moment? Because obviously, the production lines are all non-biopolymers, aren't they?
Yes, biopolymers in, if you see the market, the production, and in fact, this is one of the obstacle. We are not means our the society, or we as a polymer profession, we are not increasing the percentage of the volume compared to the conventional plastic. Well, I say the conventional plastic, please understand, like the petroleum base. So this production overall, their production is production is costly as compared to the conventional plastics, and this ultimately leading the in product high. Like you see the any bioplastic, we need to have some biomass. We can take a very good example of the polylactic acid, which is the most abundantly available in the market. Everyone know this is. So to protect this, we need to have the lactic, we need to get like a lactic acid that is coming from the ethanol. And that is, we need to take from some agriculture base or biomass. That means we need to first grow that biomass. Normally the like corn is there, the one of the suitable, soybean, corn, and many others example are available, sugar cane, like this. So first we need to grow them, cultivate them, then we need to convert to the chemicals, monomers, up to the polymers. So overall the like life cycle of the manufacturing itself, it's a very difficult.
Yeah.
So that is making the overall the cost to the polymer, the polylactic acid.
I mean, from the point of view of plastics use, food packaging is obviously something that's very important, because there's a health aspect to it as well. So what kind of advances are there in kind of food packaging plastics that kind of assure the freshness or the quality, or the healthiness of food?
If I'm right, you are discussing about with regard to biodegradable plastic, right? So
Well, not any kind of plastic really, but do you have, plastic that will stop microbes from getting into the food packaging, or any of those special kinds of things?
see, for the food packaging, we need to understand what is the required mechanical property to this. Because for food packaging, the most important to protect our food from outside the environment. So any the packaging material, they must have the strong barrier property, which protect from environment to our the material, like in the terms of water resistance, and a lot of mechanical properties are there, and this barrier property is one of the must to involve.
And we kind of getting near the end of the session, but I've got a question here. The production of plastics worldwide is expected to double over the next 2 decades. Are you obviously familiar with that? So experts have been speaking about rethinking the future of plastics. So what's your view on this? I mean, you're one of the experts, so...
I think this is related to the similar question. The future plastics, now what we are discussing, and in fact, the entire world is discussing about the sustainability of the plastics. So, sustainability, like biodegradable plastic, is one of the most important. The plastics that's it's coming, it's going to come. But in this case, we need to understand actually why we this type of the sustainable plastics it's unable to acquire the market share compared to the conventional plastics. So first things, in the market a lot of conventional plastic are available. They could not be grouped even, yeah, they are the grouped in the like commodity engineerings and the specialty plastic, but everyone have their own mechanical property to for the particular applications, right? So if we are talking the any sustainable plastic, the first criteria we need to means we need to cater this type of the plastic for that particular application. So mechanical properties that you can say one of the most important with the playing role to selection of the plastic, and if it not passing any of the end application mechanical requirement that would then it will be fail. So let's take an example of the biodegradable plastics. So, and why means they are not very advanced in the market because they have the poor mechanical property. First things, was one of first of the drawback was the very costly. Second is the mechanical property. Trust me, these two are the most important barrier for this type of plastic to replace the others. So now the what happened, the scientists and a lot of research is going on, and industry is taking initiative to modify this type of the plastic, like the come by the compounding, by the biocomposites. Like a lot of work is going on. You might hear about the biocomposites. What is the biocomposite? It's some type of the biodegradable polymers with fiber from the natural resources. It could be the banana fiber, it could be the jute fiber, hemp fiber, sugarcane fiber. So while they are mixing, and then in this case, it increasing for some particular hard packaging application. It is meeting the mechanical property. Opposite to this, it is reducing the cost. Like banana, let us take example of the banana fibers. We are taking fiber. This is the wastage, like a banana we are eating over the fruits, and all the stem leaf, all these are wastage. How people are rectifying them, and then taking the compost from them, that is the cellulose part, they are using the fertilizers, and the fiber which is type of the waste they are utilizing to make it the composite. So we can say this type of the innovation is going on, people are reducing the cost of the material.
Excellent. Well, I think that's our fireside chat over, and I really appreciate you coming to join us today. And Mr. Mr. Srivastava.
Himanshu.
Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation's not very good. It's been a long day, but thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause for joining us today. Our next session will be starting in 5 minutes. We have an excellent panel with us today on the next generation of printing and the future of packaging. So a very big part of our show, and you've seen those amazing machines out there. And if you've got the money, go and buy one, yeah? Okay, so we have with us Mr. Hashim Ali Hashim, who's the Vice Chair and CEO of the 3P Gulf Group, and I think that's him over there. Come on up on stage. We have Mrs. Doa Thabit, and she is the founder of Packagea. I hope I said that correctly. Well, you can tell us when you get on stage. We're going to ask you to tell us about yourself. And then we have Mr. Kalvakian again. Mr. Kavlakian, if you could come back up on stage. And then Mr. Maurizio Amador, who's the Commercial Director at Sealed Air. Please all take your seats next to your name. And thank you very much, Ben.
Once again, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here at Riyadh. I've come from Dubai. I'm the editor of Packaging Middle East and Africa magazine. And it's a pleasure to be here at the Riyadh Exhibition Center for the Saudi Print and Pack exhibition. And it's such a pleasure to hear, to be with this wonderful panel of experts in the print and packaging industry. The topic that's given to us to speak this evening is the next generation of printing and the future of packaging. Such a wonderful topic and something which is very close to my heart as well. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce the panel once again very quickly. Mr. Hashim Ali Hashim, who's the Vice Chairman and the CEO of 3P Gulf Group. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Dua Tabit, who's the founder of Packager, and also she's the contributing editor for our magazine. Pleasure to see once again, Dua, and the CEO of Nesma Digitech, Mr. Wache Kavlakian. Thank you, sir, for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Mauricio Rodriguez, who is the commercial director for Sealed Air. Thank you, Mauricio, for joining us. I have some very interesting questions in and around the packaging industry. Mr. Hashim, if I can start with you. Please very quickly introduce yourself to us and to the audience about, you've been a real leader in the packaging industry. You've shown quite a lot of innovation with your company, both on rigid and flexible packaging, particularly in plastics. So if you could please quickly, give us a bird's eye view about you and your company.
The group is almost 55 years old, started as a very humble plastic producer, producing jerry can 1963 to the Zamzam industry in Mecca, and then gradually moved with all the dynamic of packaging, from dairy packaging to marai to thermoforming to bottle to water industry, until we develop a solution that will be valued within the food industry. We do have thermoforming, injection, that's the typical, how we used to call it in the past, but now we have segregated into segment to water industry, beverage industry, bakery industry, hygienic industry, to give more focus about how we react with the whole supply chain and the consumer behavior that's related to the package. Simply, we export like 67% of our capacity to Europe. We produce in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE. And we cover wide range of different type, from printing to bottle to preform, and that's very brief.
Brilliant.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
for long.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Dua, if I may ask you about, what your company, you have a fantastic name, Packager. It's such a fantastic name. We'll go to that later, but tell me about yourself, or tell us about yourself as a person. You've been an entrepreneur and in the packaging industry. Give us some idea about your company and about yourself, please.
Thank you, Ben. I'm truly honored to be here today. I'd like to introduce myself as a Saudi social entrepreneur driven by creating impact. By nature, I'm a marketeer. I have a deep appreciation for cause marketing, CSR, art and design, with extensive communication experience. I'm author of a best-selling book in event management, and recently launched a packaging book, the first Arabic guide dedicated to entrepreneurs. Packaging for me is not just a passion. I firmly believe that it's a key factor in product strength and marketing appeal. The initial impression conveyed by a product or gift is greatly enhanced by the beauty of its packaging.
Thank you very much. Dua has launched a book the first of its kind in Arabic about packaging. I think she needs, let's applaud. I mean, she needs some appreciation for this. And the first person to do something in Arabic, and we really appreciate that, Dua. Thank you. So, Wache, if you can tell us about yourself very briefly. I know that you're a brilliant speaker and you speak about technology quite a bit, but let the audience know much more about you.
Thank you, Ben. Once again, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Vache Kaulakian. I am leading as a CEO and co-founder Nasma Digitech and Digitech shortly. So we are technology innovation media production company. I used to call that we are a data technology company. When they ask Elon Musk, are you car company? He used to say we are data technology company. So we have more than 62 services and solutions in our company's 7 divisions. So the best thing to say is that we are data technology company. Dedicated for media, pre-press, pre-media, digital printing, and all kind of packaging and converting pre-services. We have established our company in UAE, in Dubai, 2004. Then we expand to Saudi, and we are now based in Saudi and UAE, trying to serve from the innovative perspective, packaging and printing industries.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vache. Mauricio, very quickly, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself before getting into Sealed Air, which is a very interesting company. We'll learn about that a little later, but very quickly about yourself, please.
So thank you very much for the invitation and to share this panel with esteemed panelists. So my name is Mauricio. I'm originally from Portugal. I've been working in consultancy, FMCG, and into packaging over the last 20 years, 15 of those with the Middle East. I'm working currently as a sales director for North Africa, Middle East, and Turkey within Sealed Air.
Brilliant. Thank you. Mauricio, let me start with you with the first interesting question on innovation. Right, Sealed Air has been an innovator in the field of packaging in many structures and formats. We know that. So give us at least 1 or 2 quick examples of some of the innovations that you have done within the packaging space, both rigid and flexible.
Sure. So Sealed Air is actually the combination of a couple of companies. Sealed Air, in the origin, was the inventor of bubble wrap back in the 60s and has led the protective packaging industry since then. Along his history, has combined with other companies such as Cryovac, where also revolutionized some of the solutions, especially for the protein market, providing longer shelf life to some food applications. And it's a brand that is recognized worldwide for its benefit for the food waste. At the same time, we have expanded our solutions into automation. We've developed proprietary technology, but we also have partnered with third-party manufacturers to develop equipment, both for filling as well as throughout the value stream. We are here today in this exhibition with our distributor Arcoma, where we present solutions that are very much focusing on the supply chain, and probably one of the most recent acquisitions are companies like Autobag, Autobox, and Autoprint, which are dedicated to bring further cost effectiveness into the supply chain.
Brilliant, thanks. Vache, if I may ask you about some of the new trends that you see as an expert in the print and packaging industry. What are the new trends that we see? And also, what is Digitech doing in terms of adopting to these new trends and offering it to the market, specifically for the Saudi Arabia market?
Absolutely.
Great.
No, okay.
Great question, Ben. Actually, this is a very long subject, but just to make it briefly, first of all, the future is two components from my perspective. It's a human expertise and technology. So if we can combine both of these two together perfectly, that's the future. And that means that we have to deploy as much as possible human expertise that we gather through the years to serve this industry throughout new technologies, which is AI, which is machine learning, which is online, industrial revolution 4, IIoT, all this data analytic and data science, all these technologies together with the human expertise will create a great future for our industry. So what NDGTech is doing in this regards, we have a couple of projects. One of them which could be very interesting for the future, for Saudi specific, we are launching atbaha.com platform. Atbaha.com platform will be something similar to Vistaprint in US or PixArt printing in Europe, which can gather all kind of requirements, printing requirements in the first stage. The second stage will be also marketplace for all kind of packaging requirements. That one of the technological futuristic projects that we launch in this exhibition. The other technological state-of-art product that we launched recently is a flexoeasy.com, which can be also make the life of Flexo involved people easy. And in the first stage will be pre-press services. In the second stage will be academy for the ecosystem and for the industry, master classes and academy. In the third level will be marketplace for raw material, and the fourth stage is the marketplace for the ready-made products. So those are our futuristic projects.
Excellent, thank you.
Where, again, in these two projects and also other projects, we gather human expertise with technology.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Dua, if I can ask you about your company, Packager. The name itself is very attractive. So what's the philosophy behind this company? Tell the audience about your company and what's the philosophy behind it and the innovative concept with which you have done this, please.
Thank you for the question. I think the philosophy of Packager is rooted in my passion for creating social impact and my dedication to marketing as an effective marketing tools. About 8 years ago, with the rise of home business, I noticed a common dilemma among productive families, which is the high cost and the minimum requirement of 1,000 boxes to print branded packages. So this observation led us to the core innovation concept of Packager, which means package it in Arabic, to print a whole branded packages of minimum of 30 boxes, 30 packages as a whole, delivered to your doorstep in a week with free design services. And this groundbreaking approach earned us MIT Entrepreneurship Award. But to make this concept feasible, we have to develop a range of innovative solutions, including product packaging design, e-commerce smart platform, 3D configurators. And I think our mission aligned with the goal of Vision 2030 to increase the small enterprise contribution to national GDP from 20% to 35%. As our innovation enable us to offer affordable solutions, empowering startups to establish their business effectively. And as Thomas Waston says, good design is good business.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. That was really a very innovative thing that you've started. Mr. Hashim, sir, I have a very important question for you about Saudi Arabia. Urbanization, industry growth, and we are seeing it in this exhibition. We have been seeing it for the past 2-3 years. Saudi is the place where we see a lot of growth happening. Demand is increasing, as you said, that more than 60% of your product you are already exporting, and there's quite a bit happening in this country. In terms of packaging market trends, can you give us some insight on Saudi Arabia as a leading converter?
One of the major challenges that I think packaging in general is facing now is what we call the circular economy. And with all this new regulation, either in Saudi or worldwide, is starting to be implemented. We are, as Saudi, we are one of the largest producers of petrochemical in the whole world. And we export millions of tons of polymer. And the integration of that toward, especially packaging, is the biggest consumer of polymer. In the whole basket as a market share, packaging is the main. I think how the balance between the circular economy and the sustainable cost, because even whenever all these seminars and speeches and the innovations of and the circular economy, in the end, you're challenged by cost and the purchasing power of the consumer in the end, which it is also challenging now as consumer. Plastic and polymer will be always the biggest growth because of consumer habit, usually friendly. And we are seeing lots of, even in some other application like glass, because of barrier, there is a lots of innovation how to create barrier that can match the barrier of other application like aluminum cans, or these are always the challenge that and the journey we are facing since almost 35 years. Yet the integration of the circular economy, and I think also carbon credit issue, which we are seeing very soon that will be part of the whole industry, will play a biggest role.
Absolutely, I fully agree with your point. Dwelling on that very same point, tell us a bit about some of the innovative solutions that 3P is offering to the market. What sets you apart, and what are the innovations that you have done, you've implemented in the market?
We are every day negotiating with Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, Bahrain, Marai, Unilever, how to develop an innovations, and some of the innovation also we aligns with multinational like the dimension of a multinational like Sealed Air, which they grow on the last 30 years by acquisition, and how they integrate between these different acquisition. I think the regional and the Saudi manufacturer, especially the mature out of them, I think we're on that phase of how we integrate, and especially with all the great support we are getting now toward, especially the increasing the export of downstream product.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dua, you've been an inspiring leader. You've been speaking and kind of advocating packaging in many ways, right? And as packaging, if you could give us your insight, how packaging is contributing to the success of the industry, of any business, how the business is really succeeding within packaging, from your standpoint, please. No, that's what Dua. I mean, you can also share your thoughts. Yeah.
Look at the history of.
Sure.
If there was no packaging, you wouldn't today eat the zabadi of Maraya. And coming to the innovation, and I think also the innovation will come from the young. The young knows the behavior and the change of all the e-commerce and the value, the loyalty we are seeing. Even there is an innovation in the West of how track the package with FRID, how they track the expiration of the package. I think the young will be able to hand the next generation because of they're much more related to the consumer behavior.
Absolutely.
And I want you to continue.
Yeah, Allah, thank you so much. No, I truly agree, and I will continue from where you end. And I think this is the main reason why I start Package. I truly believe how it will leverage up the products inside. So packaging is not just a container; it embodies the essence of brands. It's a silent salesman who makes the pitch. And beyond its primary function of product protection, preservation, transportation, packaging is the first point of contact between the consumers and brands. And it's create the initial impression, which is crucial to capture their attention. And studies shows that like 72% of consumers believe that packaging influence their purchasing decision, and 64% will incline to try new products due to the shelf appeal. So, as Mr. Hashim said, packaging not just increase loyalty, but it can enhance the customer overall experience. It's fostering the brand recognition, and it's also boosting sales. And in terms of boosting sales, there is many techniques to do so, using different consumer size to enter different and new market, using gifting options, using social cause packaging to support a social cause, and even using customized packaging to respond to different events like Ramadan Kareem and Eid packaging and stuff. So I believe packaging is where function merge with art, and it's provide a playground for creativity to those who understand the language of their customers.
Brilliant. Thank you. Vachi, if I may ask you about the in thing in today's packaging industry. One of the things we are speaking innovation, we are speaking sustainability, which we kind of touched now. What about artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence in the packaging and the printing industry put together. If you could give us your thoughts on that.
As all and in general, in all segments, artificial intelligence will play a big role. Also in the packaging and printing will play a big role. Artificial intelligence will penetrate customer feedbacks, will penetrate ink quality, will penetrate plate, will penetrate quality assurance. So in all kind of processes that we have it in the packaging and pre-press and printing, it's already there, it's already fact, and nobody can avoid it. And as long as soon as involved stakeholders can implement AI in their system and processes, that will be profitable for them. So artificial intelligence is a part of entire technology package, which as soon as possible should be implemented in printing and packaging. I think we are a little bit, our segment and sector, little bit late already comparing with other sectors, but there's a serious attempt and serious also governmental and industrial support for in this direction. And I hope that next year we'll start talking about already implemented AI systems in our packaging industries.
Thank you. Thank you. Mauricio, if I can ask you about some new trends that we find in packaging materials. When I say packaging materials, we're talking substrates and structures and formats for packaging. So can you share with us some of the latest trends in structures and formats when it comes to the materials, the substrates? And for the Saudi market, what is Seal there offering? What do you have to offer for the Saudi market, or let's say for the regional market?
Sure. Trying to answer that question by touching on some of the previous points. One of the biggest trends is naturally related to sustainability. Um, as in the previous session was discussed, sustainability can touch in many points, and I always start when I have a meeting with a customer and he asks about sustainability. I always ask, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve to be sustainable or to be perceived as sustainable? And there are many answers to that question, and there are many solutions that can be presented. What we believe in Sealdir is that the major trend moving forward will be to reduce the footprint of packaging, but also and especially to enable recycling. So what we discuss with our customers is how to have the right balance in terms of the technical solutions. It's not what used to be called as lightweighting, but the right weighting, what is the right balance to deliver the technical solutions that the customer requires along the value chain. And at the same time, have a solution of a packaging that is designed considering recycling streams. This is probably one of the areas where we'll see further advance in the Saudi market. I have to say that the Saudi government has been taking very positive measures in terms of enabling the recycling industry. It is very easy to have claims on the market of biopolymers or have claims about recycling content. But if we are not using the waste that we are generating at local level, what is at the end the purpose? So importing waste or importing biopolymers from abroad, leaving our waste in the landfills in the country, does not really achieve a circular economy. Mm-hmm. So the solution really that the industry has brought to the different industry groups and to the government is how do we achieve that circularity by solving the problem of waste collection, solving the problem of processing that waste back into the industry. Naturally, depending on the application, not always recycling resins can be applied. There are sensitive applications such as the medical industry or some food solutions or for some food applications where recycling is not applied. But recycling will allow us to have a reduction of the CO2 footprint in most applications. I would say that to achieve this, what we work very hard in terms of our main focus in terms of development and innovation is to achieve ideally monostructures, because monostructures are easily recycled, while the composition of multi-materials deteriorates the quality of the post-consumer recycled materials.
Brilliant, thank you. Mr. Hisham, a very important question for the Saudi market. We are seeing a lot of economic transformation in this region, and particularly, I mean, we're talking about Saudi Arabia as a country. Where do you see the future of the packaging industry for Saudi Arabia? If you can summarize for us, please.
Consumer habit is always the main drive of the project, the packaging industry. The packaging industry in Saudi is very well mature since long time. Actually, even we are an exporter. I'm not talking about particularly about only about 3P, but there is a very successful story of exporting due that we have all the competitive advantage in Saudi, and we have from long time much of multinational producer like Procter & Gamble, Unilever. As example, we supply we have a global procurement with all of these companies that we supply them to most of their plants right from Pakistan to South Africa. We have the competitive advantage of a low cost of energy and petrochemical. If you are talking about the local market, we have the capability much more bigger than the local market. The local market in terms of tonnage and packaging, it's not a big market. Okay, we will always use it as our enabler to create that innovation and our learning curve within our own market. But we do have all the fundamental and all the competitive advantage to be an exporter. Of course, and when you go internationally, it will be in a different ball game because you will face with a multinational acquisitions, and even now there is some serious government program, even with PIF, and to enable local producer to go to and challenge all these exposure.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So, dwelling on the same question from a short-term, medium-term, and a long-term perspective, what's your prediction about the growth of packaging and print in Saudi Arabia?
Speaking about the future, we can look at it from two different angles, volume and substances. In terms of volume, the Saudi plastic packaging market, I believe it's expected to grow in a compound annual growth rate of 6.6%. Means that it will reach $20.5 billion by 2030. And the paper and paperboard market is expected to reach $5.8 billion by 2028. Alongside that, the NIDLIB, the National Industrial Development and Logistics Program, is emphasizing industrial manufacturing. This in turn will fuel demand for product packaging, especially for consumer goods produced domestically. And in terms of substances, I believe there is three major trends that we can look at. First is sustainability. Saudi government just unveiled the waste management strategy with a plan to recycle up to 95% of waste. I think this will put pressure on factories to operate in more socially responsible product line, and we will see a rise of materials like biodegradable and compostable product materials made of things like seaweed, mushrooms, and even recycled paper. Second is e-commerce. It's e-commerce. Beside, like the shipping box should withstand the rigor of shipping, I think it should enhance the customer's experience as it's the first point outside of the platform. So you need to use a customizable sleeve or use a packaging insert like a personalized thank you card or voucher or gift samples and so on. And the third is personalization. Like in the future, we can see your product with your name or the shape and size is matching the products inside. And this will also give a raise to digital printing, especially for a retailer who wants to run a marketing campaign, like the same example of having a themed Ramadan Kareem in most of the products was in Ramadan shelf. So I think this is the three major trends in substance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your insight, Dua. Vashi, if I may ask you a very interesting question, a little bit different from what we have been talking. 3D printing, I mean, it was the in thing, many people were speaking, and some people implemented this in some of their projects and some of their structures, if I can say so. So where do you see the future of this technology in our region and specifically in Saudi Arabia?
Interesting question. I have an interesting answer. I have a good news and bad news. Which one you want first?
Always.
The bad news that in our experience, 3D printing was never profitable. And commercializing 3D printing was very difficult and always challenging. In terms of the technology cost, in terms of very quick changes happened in the 3D printing resources, and also lack of mass production. But the good news that if it can deployed perfectly and rightly, could be perfect source of business, especially for those that they want to complete their product line with innovative and amazing opportunity, especially if can be deployed in the packaging as a customer experience, as a mock-ups, and for, as Dua mentioned, for personalized products, it can be amazing results. So, and I see Saudi as a big market for 3D printing. First, from Vision 2030 perspective, that there's a lot of new cities, a lot of big requirements for 3D printing in terms of marketing and construction. And from the other side, from the packaging perspective and personalizing the items, mock-ups, and also gift items can be a big opportunity for 3D printing. So we have to learn from the past experience and deploy that experience for the future upcoming trends.
So by deploying that, it's definitely going to be good news soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Mauricio, if I can wrap up this session with a very interesting question, which I'm sure the audience is going to keenly listen from you. Paper and pulp-based, fiber-based packaging, that's growing now. Everybody's speaking. We heard so much about plastics in packaging. Saudi Print and Pack and Plastics has got much to do with plastics. But at the same time, paper-based packaging is growing. Global brands, regional brands, and also local brands are somehow or the other, they're adopting to areas where they can have this structure. So my question is, according to today's forecast and the reports that we see here, there are challenges, there are opportunities also. So from sealed air standpoint, just give us your prediction about packaging materials for the future. Is paper-based or let's say fiber-based packaging going to draw a lot of structures from plastics into its space, or it's going to, stay where it is? And I mean, let's hear from you about this.
So I think we need all to be clear that there's not one solution that fits all, right? And so depending on the application, depending on the supply chain, different solutions will come as preferred, with lower CO2 footprint, or with the lowest cost, or whatever is the metric. In terms of fiber-based solutions, they have a very big appealing. They are perceived as more sustainable. It's not always the case. It's not always the case, but consumers tend to like it more. So what we see in very frequently in discussions with customers is that companies shift to fiber-based or paper-based solutions, compromising on costs, compromising frequently on the technical solution that they deliver, in order to be perceived as more sustainable. And they are very clear that they are not delivering what is best for the environment. Now, some cases it is, but if you have technical properties that can only be achieved through plastic, you cannot replicate them directly to paper. So the solution is either you have multi-materials laminates, paper-based laminates, where you achieve the same as plastic, but with the perception that you're using paper, but then you are compromising on recyclability. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve the same solution. So it is really about being honest with ourselves as companies, as brands, as the brand owners, what is really the goal that they want to achieve. So ideally, the world should go towards mono structures I was mentioning before. I know you raised, there are solutions, especially in the liquids, that are paper-based. Naturally, you cannot hold the liquid with paper, so you need something to make the coating. I think some of the solutions that are out there, I would not just, I would highlight, for example, one that is very well known, Gonpaboko, that is trying to change the technology. that are trying to bring innovation to the market. So they are conscious that their end solution, their current solution is not the end goal. It's not a perfect solution, but they are trying to revolutionize. So those, I think, are welcomed when they try to challenge the status quo and bring innovation. But we need to be conscious that it's not necessarily because it has paper that it's the most sustainable solution.
So they're going to kind of complement each other in the areas where they need to be. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and also Dua, for your wonderful insights. Let's give these wonderful panelists a round of applause, please, for their wonderful insights.
Our next session will start in 2 or 3 minutes, and we have an interesting lineup for you. The topic of the session is sustainability and the future of plastics and packaging. So if you want to look into that crystal ball, we'll be on stage in 2 minutes with our next set of speakers. And we will be welcoming back to the stage Mr. Ben Daniel, Chief Editor, Packaging MEA. Thank you, Ben, for joining us again. And then our new speaker, Dr. Mohammed Salamuddin, the Regional Manager of FIMIC, F-I-M-I-C, and he will explain to you exactly what FIMIC is because I have no idea. I'm not from the packaging world, but he's the expert and he will explain. So once the people have moved from the front and taken a seat, we can then start the session. Okay, we're going to kick off the session. Ben was here earlier, but I don't think he introduced himself. He introduced the panel, but not himself. And I'm sure he's got a lot to say for himself. So, Ben, tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll move to the doctor who can then tell us about himself.
Thank you, James. Not much to say, but very quickly, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Ben Daniel, as James introduced. So I'm the chief editor for Packaging Middle East and Africa magazine. So we are a magazine based out of Dubai, a B2B publication focused around the packaging industry. We cover the entire packaging value chain, starting from the concept till the recycling. So we cover the whole industry. I started this magazine 12 years back, and basically I come with a background in printing and packaging. I'm a printing and packaging engineer. Finished 7 years of studies in the packaging field, and worked for a couple of multinationals, Kodak and Creo and Agfa in the industry. And in the year 2004, I got an opportunity to get into the journalism side of this industry, which is print and packaging, which was very fascinating for me. Although I did not study journalism, but still, I got this opportunity to get in this industry. So with my technical background, I kind of was happy to take up this because I was meeting new people every day, learning new things, hearing from people, and trying to, adopt to those things. And packaging and printing is such an industry which is evolving very quickly, and a lot happening in this industry for the past 20 years. And I would say 24 years I've been based in Dubai. And that's how we established this magazine in the year 2012. And we have done quite well to reach out to brand owners, converters, and machine manufacturers around 17 countries in the Middle East and Africa region. So we have a platform called Prime, which is Packaging Resource and Innovations Middle East, where we invite brand owners and converters on a yearly basis for a couple of conferences. We have an awards program. It's a technology event which is coupled with a couple of new areas within 4 major areas of packaging, which is labels, flexibles, cartons, and corrugation. Obviously, there are many areas also, but these are the 4 areas we specialize. So I can go on talking about this, but that's about it.
So basically what he's saying is he went from constructing packaging to constructing a magazine.
Yeah, that's well said. That's well put. That's well put, James.
Packaging words, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. I think you put it right. Yeah.
Okay, and Doctor, please tell us about yourself and what you do, please.
My name is Mohammed Salimuddin, and I am Regional Sales Manager at FIMIC SRL. FIMIC is an Italian manufacturer, third generation company, And by qualification, I am a polymer analytical chemist, and I have been working with plastic and polymer industry for last 19 years. And now my experience and expertise lies on polymer reprocessing, its application, and reprocessing, which is the recycling. And I associated with the FEMIC in the last 2 years.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Ben, the audience now know quite a lot about you and what you do and the success of your publications. Let's talk about packaging and sustainability. Is it possible, taking into consideration today's advanced technologies in packaging, can we really say that packaging is more sustainable than it was 5 years ago?
A very big S is what I would say to start with. Packaging as an industry has moved from a linear to a circular economy over the past 5, or rather a little more than 5 years, for reasons both from brand owners and also from the regulator standpoint. Both of them have taken really action, thoughts to action, I would say, and they walk the talk. There's a lot which has happened for the past few years where people, companies have implemented structures which can be recyclable. So to say, is it really moving in that direction of circularity? Yes, it is moving, but is that easy? I would say no, it's not easy. There's a lot of challenge in every possible structure that we find, be it plastics, both rigid and flexible, and also with paper-based or pulp fiber-based, as we heard in the previous session. Obviously, we also have other structures like bottle and glass. Basically, we're talking about glass and we're talking about metal. And all these structures also have a lot of challenges, but most of these structures, or rather all the structures, are finding ways to get from linear to a circular economy. That's what we are seeing. But the biggest area that we see innovation is obviously plastics and packaging, and fiber-based or pulp-based, paper-based packaging. And it's moving quite rapidly, much faster than what we expected. To give some perspective and some figures to it, from a global perspective, more than 1,000 companies joined together and formed this agreement in 2018 with this Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is driven by the United Nations, where more than 1,000 companies consisting food and beverage, personal care, cosmetics, pharmaceutical, all the big names such as Nestle, Unilever, Mars, and Mondelez, Pepsi, and Coke. Over here, companies like Almarai, all these companies have really walked the talk. They have been saying that you're going to be carbon neutral by year 2030, and they are in the direction. So many SKUs which were completely linear are moving towards circular. So as Mauricio was mentioning from Seal there about how certain structures which had non-recyclable formats or structures for flexible packaging are getting into monomaterial, which can be easily collected, sorted, and recycled. So that's really helping the industry to move in that direction. Of course, there are challenges in terms of regulation, in terms of compliance, in terms of extended producer responsibility, which is EPR. But all of this, I won't use the word challenge. These are challenges which have already been overcome to some extent. The government is doing its best, both in Saudi Arabia. For example, if you talk about Saudi Arabia, we have this Saudi packaging group, which is working with Circular Packaging Association in Dubai. Together, they are implementing ways how they can bring in recycled PET very fast into most of the bottled water and also carbonated soft drinks. Anyway, so to summarize here, yes, there is a move which is happening, and that is happening rapidly. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks. And Doctor, let's pick up on the recycling bit, because that's definitely your area of expertise. What are the most advanced recycling solutions for plastics? And how do the laws of thermodynamics play into that sustainability equation as well?
Yeah, FIMIC is also the manufacturer of the recycling equipments, and FIMIC not only manufacture the equipments but design the technology as per the market requirement and focus on fully automation and sustainability issues. So we are specialized in designing and manufacturing of a core. Our product is a filtration technology, which is which address to remove contamination during a reprocessing of polymers. So we are specifically one of the leader in the market. We addressed the dirtier waste, which is called a post-consumer waste for the recycling. And our technology is fully automated, and it is according to the sustainability, means the less consumption of the resources like energy and manpower and other resources. So it is the core business of FEMIC, the filtration technology. And other product we have is the melt pump, which is our new innovative product, which is replacing melt pump is replacing another, you can say that conventional pump system, which is a gear pump. Gear pump, where is a high energy required, and there is a lot of wear and tear. So we focused in our innovation and R&D the sustainability points.
So what you're doing is you're doctoring the process to cut down the energy to lower that carbon footprint of that recycling plant.
Yes, exactly. And it also helps the recyclers, our technology, and for example, filtration technology, to improve the recycled material in the high quality. And they are using with this filtration in the extrusion, they can optimize their output. So it increase the output of the extruder and improve the quality of the recycled materials. So that recycled material can be reused again in the system, come into the system. For example, a very sophisticated application, which is for film manufacturing, blown film manufacturing, and blown molding, for example, a pipe manufacturing process. So it helps when this kind of automation is available in the market, and conventional is removing with the fully automated and digitalized technologies.
So in effect, you pushing the price down of recycling by introducing lower energy machinery. Is that correct?
No, we are enhancing the capability to produce a high quality recycled pallets to use again in the system. So that will be a real circularity and circular economy. So this is the point we are focusing on. And not only FIMIC is developing himself, but also collaborating with the other stakeholders in the market to collaborating joint development. So recently we also did some joint development works, which will help the industry to come in the other segment other than the recycling.
And is the market, in Saudi Arabia adopting this kind of technology, or is that a new learning process for people to? Is that your reason that you're at the show today, is to educate and make people aware?
Yeah, the Saudi market is for recycling, as well as we have already in this market, and we have introduced our technology, and we replaced the conventional type technology with this automation and digitalization. And also I'm here to introduce a new, other than the recycling, FIMIC not have the technology and solution for recycling, but also for the manufacturing of raw materials. For example, compounding polymers, where the customer is requiring from the manufacturers that there would be PCR contents, the post-consumer recyclates should be there in the material. So it is the challenge now in this Saudi or Middle East market. But this market is developed in the previous years in the Europe and American market, and we have already done several projects in that developed market. For this Middle East market, my concern to come here and to speak about that we have the technology is here, the solution we have, and we just need to communicate to the industry that solution is available, support is here, and we need to go forward in the manufacturing as well with the PCR contents.
Excellent.
So it will be the actually I would say that real circularity and circular economy, we are focusing all stakeholders to reduce the carbon footprint.
Good, that's part of Vision 2030. So that's admirable. Mr. Daniel, I think I've got my questions mixed up, yeah. So environmental challenges, I talked about thermodynamics because recycling has that's, pushing out heat to recycle is a factor that people don't realize, do they?
No, yeah, that's right.
A lot of that happens. But in terms of different packaging recycle, what are the challenges that you see in the Saudi market? I mean, you've written a lot about that.
Recycling is something which has really caught up this region very recently. I would say for the past 5 to 6 years, we can see recycling happening in two important areas. Obviously, we've been speaking about that in the previous question as well. One is plastics in packaging, other is paper-based or fiber-based. So these two areas, it was previously a kind of collect and dispose it to the waste, in the landfill. But now we see companies investing in collection, sorting, and recycling of waste, whether it's plastic, whether it's pulp-based, paper-based, fiber-based. Speaking of plastics in packaging, which is a bigger concern than paper-based packaging, we can classify them into two areas. One is rigid, other is flexible. Speaking of rigid, the biggest consumption that we see in a daily basis that we all use is a PET bottle, where we use it for the water bottle, or probably for a carbonated soft drink, right? So these PET bottles have been produced with virgin material all these years, and it's been still produced. The major part of it is still virgin material. But having said that, there are systems in place now. Global companies have invested in this technology of collection, sorting, and recycling, and converting them into pellets, which we call as rPET, which is recycled PET, and they bring it back into the value chain. Today, you have companies over here in Saudi, for example. We heard a recent news about Nova Water. They've launched a rPET bottle. Some of the water that you find on the shelf today is from rPET material,
Wow.
which is wonderful.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So likewise in Dubai, in Qatar, we saw Coca-Cola launching the first rPET bottle for the FIFA World Cup. So we saw so many other examples back in Dubai. For example, we have Aktia Water, we have Emirates Water, we have Nestle, we have Coca-Cola, which is Arwa. All of them are walking the talk in this area. They are investing and they have partners with whom they are tying, because PET is one material which can be easily collected, sorted, and recycled and brought into the value chain. That's why recycling is really happening, to answer your first part.
Yeah.
The second part is flexible packaging, which comes with multi-layered, with multi-polymer, multi-material, which is being used to strengthen, to enhance the material science of that product. Today you see in the shelf products which are food and beverage based products which are having a longer shelf life. That's because the packaging is really strong. It's got very good barrier properties. It's got very good properties for migration as well, to avoid migration. So likewise, we have many such good things with this multi-material, but it's absolutely non-recyclable.
So you're talking like a Tetra Pak kind of thing?
Well, Tetra Pak used to have such kind of a multi-material where there's a paper-based structure outside. They have another PE laminate. They have another aluminum foil at least there are 6 or 7 layers sandwiched to form this, which was non-recyclable, but they have really innovated. They're really sustainable now, starting with the cap and the closure and the structure. Tetra Pak, likewise SIG, Combi Block, and a couple of other aseptic packaging companies have really taken this non-recyclable to a recyclable material on one side. That's a combination of both pulp-based outside, but also to some extent filmic substrates which are more recyclable or biodegradable. I'm talking about monomaterial, where a single family that you find in PET that I just mentioned, which can be easily brought back into the value chain to close the loop. So likewise, in flexible packaging, there are technologies which have come up really, really well now. We have something called as MDOP. We have monomaterial structures which can be produced with the same family of material, and that can be extruded with the kind of structure, with the kind of properties that is required. And once it's used, just like PET, it can be also collected and sorted and recycled. So it was a big challenge for flexible packaging, but now we are finding solutions, but it's a bit expensive than the regular one, where it's used mainly for high-end, high-grade products, not for the consumer, let's say the common products that you find in the market. But slowly that's changing. Very soon you'll find monomaterial structures in flexible packaging also really coming up to the shelf, and it's becoming commercially viable.
And what about glass? I mean, that's, like Nova, for example, use glass bottles as well. I mean, but is there
Good question. Good question. Glass has been in the market for centuries, if you like, So it's been there for so many centuries now, and it's a fantastic product when it comes to protection, when it comes to retaining the flavor and the taste of the beverage, for example, or whatever is the food material, if you're talking about food packaging. But it comes with a very high carbon footprint. You see, I mean, we are talking, it's recyclable, no doubt. You can collect it, you can recycle, bring it back, it's 100% recyclable. That's fine. But to collect and to recycle, and to the energy used to produce, the energy used to recycle, and on the other side, the energy used to transport in terms of logistics.
It's heavy.
Yeah, that's very heavy. Yeah. So all put together, it consumes the maximum carbon footprint. So for this reason, obviously, brand owners are moving away from glass to let's say plastic based.
Wow.
But at the same time, plastics, they're trying to make it as environment friendly and sustainable to complement, or rather to compensate for that.
So do you think brands like Gucci and Lancome are going to move away from glass packaging? Those high-end products.
I wouldn't say that would happen overnight. You're absolutely right. Glass is a very luxury product, if you like. Even the bottle that we have here today, they're giving this because they find this to be much more luxurious than a PET bottle. So one way, it's recyclable, it's sustainable, they call it, and which is true. But on the other side, it carries a very high carbon footprint. So we have to consider that as well. So what you see outwardly, to answer your question about Gucci and all these L'Oreal and all these high-end perfume companies and all these cosmetic companies, they use glass to show the premiumness of the product. I would say that will still continue, because that has to continue to have that premium look and feel, and what we call as shelf impact. That would continue. But having said that, that's not a high volume consumer product which is going to have a great impact on the environment. It does have impact, but we're talking about a consumer product which we consume on a daily basis. Such products are moving from linear to circular.
Thank you. Doctor, tomorrow's packaging. You want to get your crystal ball out and tell us what you think the packaging of the future is going to look like in terms of paper, because we've just covered glass now, so we're saying it's going to stay. But things like rigid packaging, flexible packaging, where do you see it looking like in the next 5 or 10 years?
Like according to the versatility of polymer and plastic, I am very optimistic about this. The flexible packaging is no way other we can use like other resources like a paper or glass. Exactly, Mr. Ben said there is a luxury and everything, but the natural resources used to manufacturing and recycling is higher. So we are all thinking about the reduced carbon footprint. So it will not work according to the sustainability. So future of plastic in flexible packaging is always greater production will be greater and the consumption will be great and then waste will become. So we just need to prepare ourselves for bring the plastic into the circularity. To focus on the technologies, new technologies, innovations, and we can make it circular, because linear economy will not work no more. So only the workable is a circular economy. And for circular economy, plastic is very versatile to manufacture and to reuse. The resources consumption is lower than others, for example.
That's yeah, I think that's very true. But Ben, do you think there's enough education to consumers about what the circular economy is?
No, this much needs to be done in this area, not just in Saudi Arabia, not just in our region. I think globally that's missing. Very little has been done, and a lot could be done, or should be done, I would say. And I wouldn't put it on a negative side, say nothing has been done. A lot has been, some really good work has been done, and more than saying countries, I would say by companies. I would say, the brand owners have
I
really
agree.
worked.
The companies are doing it.
Yes, companies are really pushing this, because many countries have challenges implementing circular economy from a regulation standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, for many reasons, good and bad. But brands are doing it to really walk the talk. They have this, just as Saudi is having this vision 2030 with moving towards circularity. Most of the global brands have this. Some have for 2025, in fact. Some have for 27, 2080, 2030, and so on. So most of them are really looking into that area of moving away from linear towards circularity, be it in pulp-based or let's say paper-based. I mean, just to give you a very quick update, education has to happen in many ways. One could be from the brand owner, one could be from the converters and suppliers, one could be from also media like us, one could be also from the general media that you find in the market. So everybody have to play their role to educate the consumer. Educating the consumer is not one person's, and the government also has to do its part, and which they are doing. I really appreciate the government in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai. They are really doing a fantastic job. We have associations which are really working hard to establish circularity in packaging. It's moving in the right direction. I'm sure very soon we will at least come in par with the North America and European packaging industry.
Good. Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming today and giving all the facts to the audience. And let's give them a round of applause for their time today, please.
Thank you. Thank you, James.